week on Humpcast, comedian Brian Moreno comes in to bring some laughs. News from Apple Conference. Dan Aykroyd needs to shut the fuck up. Wonder Woman breaks records. Rest in peace, voice of Wallace and Gromit. And War Machine gets life sentence in prison. You're listening to Humpcast.
Hit it already! Ow!
Welcome to Humpcast, everybody, the show where a couple of buds get buzzed and do a funnier show than Jay Leno with comedian Brian Moreno. My name's Garrett Lee.
And I'm Ricky C.
And today we have a very special guest, comedian Brian Moreno!
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you
What's
very
up,
much.
man?
Yeah, thank you for saying it correctly. A lot of, well...
What, how do you get that wrong? That's what I
a
want.
lot of people... Marino. I get
Marino?
You know, yeah, they don't
I guess it makes
understand
sense.
that.
White people.
Yes. Just because Dan Marino.
Dan Marino. Is that how you spell Dan Marino?
No, it's not.
No, okay.
No,
It's
it's a
definitely,
bit different.
That's Italian. I go by my mother's maiden name.
Oh, gotcha. No, yeah, we're all Mexican heritage of
Yes.
some sort. I'm half. He's a full. Ryan's half, sort of.
Yeah.
I doubt he. Yeah, he wouldn't have said Marino either.
Yeah.
I can tell how you roll an R, though. You know, anyone who can, they got some
Latin.
Latin.
Yeah.
That's...
Garrett's more Mexican than all of us here.
Totally. If you are watching right now, you can kind of tell that there's a big empty spot.
Well, Ryan.
Empty spot where Ryan should be, but
he's on his way.
somebody's
guys.
stuck in traffic.
Possibly.
Yeah, so he's on his way right now, and then of course he's gonna have his show later on at the Dollar.
Which Brian is going to be a guest on. So go check that out. Right after the show's going to be over at the Silver Dollar Saloon in El Monte.
In El Monte.
This
El
ever
Monte.
happened before?
This?
Yeah.
So, most of the times, it's actually a lot of stuff that it's out of his
he usually has
control.
a show or something.
Like
That's
literally, I
fine.
think what was it last time it happened? His battery died while he was on his way, and it just completely
Right.
went out, and he had to wait for someone to come get him.
Yeah. It happens. It's
It
all right.
happens, but yeah, it's happened to all of us
Yeah.
once or twice.
I just thought he was scared of me.
It's actually
it's
that's a good
possible.
part. He's like, guys, I'll meet you at the show. I'm sorry, I gotta just type in going to compete.
I'll help him pick out a dog. This week or something, right?
So we start off every episode with an alcoholic beverage of some sort. I will ask Ricky to start off with what he's drinking.
All right. So for anyone in the live feed right now, you can
What is
probably
this
see that I have
Fucking
this
Colossus beer.
giant mega can, Foster's can of Stone Enjoy By.
I was seriously thought you had some sort of special Foster's.
No.
It's like some special
even
edition
better.
Foster's.
Even better. This is a 32 ounce of fresh Enjoy By. This is the
32-ounce can.
July 4th edition. It's 9.4%, and if you go to their Stone store in Pasadena, they will give you a fresh crowler. And it's just like right off the tap. So
Mr.
very
Crowler.
delicious and just humongous can.
Seriously, I didn't know they made 32-ounce cans. Like
Yeah,
that.
you can only get these either like a brewery or like one of the I guess Stone
I've
has
never
a store.
seen that before.
Yeah, they can it right there in front of your face. Like they'll fill it up.
Just right in your. You fucking look at that.
You have to look at it.
You should get at least
awesome.
a few free beers for this plug right here because I'm gonna go because of that.
Oh yeah,
And
and
I'll
like
say I heard it here.
this is like $11, you know. So I mean, it's awesome.
It looks
that's-
more expensive.
That's
than that.
why these
Yeah.
guys gave us all the stuff is because we do that
Yes.
sometimes.
So I mean, yeah, we love beer and we love to have anybody sponsor the show.
Yeah,
That'd be great.
Wow.
But yeah, so that's the kind of cool thing is
And
that
there's
it's
a
one of
brewery
the
in Pasadena, a Stone brewery.
Oh, yeah,
it's
It's
like
a
a Stone
shop.
Company store, so it's more like it's not a full brewery, but they do get all like their they get like a lot of beers that aren't like you wouldn't find on the shelves.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, and everything's really fresh there too. So and they'll can it right in front of your face.
So
check it out.
in
I'm
in
in.
your
You have
face.
to watch it.
I'm in. Totally sold.
Yeah.
And,
it's nice and
I'm gonna go to our
fresh.
guest next. What are you drinking? And then Ricky, can you hand me my beer?
Yes.
There was just a liquor store on the way, and the guy told me this was good. So I
This is
bought
good.
it.
This is good beer. Trust me,
Yeah.
bro.
It only cost me $2.19, so I wasn't sure.
nice.
That's
But
right.
it-
That's
but
what
it's actually
Ryan's
pretty
alley.
delicious.
Yeah.
But it's actually pretty delicious.
Nice, man.
Nice. I saw that it said 10 Barrel Joe, and that's actually a pretty good beer company.
Yeah. I mean, I thought the guy was just trying to get rid of some stuff. 'Cause I was like,
I mean, I'm not saying that that's not true, But it could be both. I mean,
But
still,
yeah.
it's a good beer company, but it could have been just sitting on the shelf.
But
for
that's
a
why I
while.
got the Bud
Yeah.
Light, just because I felt like I would only drink one beer on a channel. I was like, oh, if this is really bad.
That's
then-
hilarious. You're
Smart.
pre-gaming with a Bud Light, and I'm pre-gaming with a fucking what is this, Miller Light? Yeah, cheers.
I'm gonna need some help with this, by the way. It's
I'll help
9.4%. So
Oh,
Delicious.
Dude,
Very
that,
cool.
It's
I've
very-
never
it's
seen
very
a beer
delicious.
just fill that big ass pint too.
it's not even half of it. It's not even half of this fucking thing. It's like right. Yeah. There's a
right,
lot of
all
beer
right.
left.
Well, it is my turn now.
What are you drinking, bro?
Let's see. I brought in
actually
my.
brought in a beer.
I did. So
Wow.
normally I bring in a cocktail, especially because of my my new show, What's Good with Garrett Lee. You can find on Facebook. But I don't have an episode coming out this week, and also I've been out busy all day. I had no time to get all of my stuff for cocktail ready. So I actually stopped by our old stomping ground, High's Liquor Store, that was by where we all lived until we all moved away.
I live by there still.
You're yeah, sort of. It's further away from me for sure. And then I brought in my brother. Which brother, you ask? His name is Thelonious.
Oh.
It's brother Thelonious.
Nice.
This is a
Classic.
This is a classic. I love Belgian beers. Are you a fan of Belgians at all?
Yeah, I'm just happy that I didn't come with just a Bud Light after what you guys brought to the table. Seriously.
No, yeah.
No, you did
Why
good,
do you
man.
always show your guest up like this?
Yeah, we try to.
Yeah,
one of the big elements of the show is drinking, so we want.
Well, I didn't know. I literally got this.
You did good.
Just
You-
because I
you did
drink.
great.
You're lucky. You're lucky I didn't have my cocktails because I would have just been like fucking doing flair bartending and shit right here
Yeah, Garrett like
You're
lights us on
basically
fire.
Tom Cruise. I would have said that earlier.
from cocktail.
Yeah.
Garrett almost like burnt this place down before, so.
No, I was gonna say Tom Cruise from Top Gun.
Oh, from Top Gun. Oh yeah, no, I have my. Speaking of, there's going to be another one, and it's a stupid title. It's literally called Tom. Or it's no, it's not
Tom Gun.
Tom Gun movie. Tom Gun.
Tom Gun. Tom Gun. It's really not about the planes. It's
No,
It's all
basically,
Tom Cruise.
basically, not to jump into my stories because it's not one. It wasn't enough of a story. They're making a second Top Gun,
Yes.
and it's with Tom Cruise, and it's called Top Gun Maverick, which is basically Top Gun, me.
Yeah.
Well,
Tom
yeah,
Cruise.
Tom Cruise.
Well, if they called it, Iceman, I mean, it'd be
Yeah.
sad if they called it Goose.
Yeah, I was
but
gonna say
Right.
Goose returns or the Revenge of
Goose
Goose.
isn't dead, right? I
Comes
swear.
back.
Some coke smugglers picked me up. I was shipping drugs
That
across
would've
the
been
border.
sick,
It's like a
dude.
new
And he
fucking-
blames Maverick.
Yeah, that would have been sick.
I told you we were too close.
It's like a Winter
No,
Soldier,
no,
but
no.
Tom Cruise edition.
Shipping drugs across the border for years because of you.
So I remember back in the day, Thelonious obviously is a beer that we brought in a long time ago, and we were we made up something called the Cork Club, and
Oh, that's right,
That's when
yeah.
we basically when we started bringing in fancier beers than like our
That
own
had
Miller
corks in
Lights.
it, yeah.
Like, oh, you brought a cork. You think you're better than all of us? You think you're better than me? And I'm like, bro, I'm part of the Cork Club. There
Does
we
it?
go.
Nice. Does it?
Does it ever pop tough? Those kind of corks?
No, I don't think it's ever like exploded.
Has it? No, I feel like it
I
had
mean, if
one
you
of
shook
once or
it, I
twice.
feel like it would, just because the way you opened it right there. I felt like
Yeah.
I should turn and get shrapnel.
Well, once or twice, I think it's actually popped on the show,
That's-
but I'm specially trained, and I it sounds fucking weird. I actually am specially trained to not do that because
Uh-huh.
I'm a bartender.
I believe it. I'm trying to mute this.
It's
I
cool.
want
It's cool.
to.
But yeah, so let's get to our guest. Brian, you're going to be on the show tonight with Ryan.
Yes.
Super stoked.
You've been on a lot of things. So let's get into, you have anything? So let's get into how you've gotten to comedy so far. Or how long have you been in the comedy
In the
scene?
game,
well,
bro.
Well, and when I tell you this number, I'm very fortunate. I
Like
attribute-
2 months.
No, I attribute my success to a lot of variables, but this Thanksgiving is 7 years.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
nice.
That's a long time, man.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Well,
It's a long grind.
It's a long grind, but when I got into comedy, I was on, and I still am on a 10-year plan. Where I wouldn't even evaluate my position till that point because
Exactly.
I don't see a lot of people going with that same mentality. They want it like now. This
Yeah.
one comedian was telling me the other day how upset they were they're not getting more things, and I'm like, how long have you been doing it? They're like 4 months. I can't believe
yeah.
I'm not auditioning for more movies. And what? I was like, just go be funny first. Figure out how.
A comedian's name was Ryan. No,
No, so it's about to be 7 years this Thanksgiving. 6.5.
Nice.
Congrats, dude.
Wow. It's a long time.
Definitely, and I agree with you. Sticking in and like, going in for any sort of grind, no matter what level you achieve or don't achieve, like that takes commitment regardless.
Sure, and I'm happy. Like where I'm currently at, I'm really happy. Like I have a lot of people who they get excited to listen to me talk, and that makes me happy. Because ultimately, my goal is, and when I judge comedians, my one criteria that I always ask: would you pay to listen to them talk on a Friday night? Would you pay $25 for you or $25 per ticket for you and your girlfriend to go out and tell her to get dressed up because we're gonna go listen to Brian Moreno talk? Are you gonna? Was that because you're not just? Because I'm not just gonna make you laugh. Because a lot of people are really more funny than me. There's other people who are more interesting. Like I try to be a little bit of the balance of both. Yeah. Because I know where I am, funny wise. Like there are just some people that are just hilarious, but they're not interesting. Like they can do these one-liners, and you don't learn anything. You don't challenge thought. Mm-hmm. You don't question things, and I love that. I love for people to give me real feedback, real emotion. Like I love that. I love calling my mom and doing crazy shit, just to see how she'll react. Whatever it may be. I love telling a person their dog died just to see if they really care about their fucking dog. Whatever, you get it.
That is the first time I've ever heard that sentence. I just want to tell somebody that their dog with passion too.
Yeah, I do that a lot. I was like, no. I hate to tell you this, but I gave it too much chocolate or something. I don't know. No, I don't.
So don't let Brian ever watch your dog.
Don't say the chocolate.
It would be more fucked up if you were also a dog walker.
Yeah.
But I like realism. I like to see where people really stand. And there's a lot of fugazis in every game. Mm-hmm. And no matter what you do in life, there are a lot of people who are in it for wrong reasons or for just the money or for just, I like realism. I like people who are like, this is it. This is what I do.
Yeah,
and that's literally for me because I'm from LA. If I fail, I have to go live on a couch in LA. I can't go anywhere else.
You can't afford a couch.
Yeah, seriously. The same here. We're lucky enough to have been born just outside of LA.
You see, my family's gone. They've moved.
Oh, they moved away. Okay.
Well, yeah, my parents got divorced. My mom never really fully moved here. My dad was, and I was living with my dad for forever. And he hates LA. No, he thinks there's nothing but actors, drug dealers, and prostitutes.
There are definitely a lot of those
in LA, and I'm like, which one got you? Probably like all three, right?
Yeah.
Probably all three. They ran a train on you.
He's
right?
like, it was one guy.
It was all three.
Yeah, all three roles in one.
Fucked them all up.
He's like, I have like 5 jobs.
But my dad's a dick, so it's totally fun. It's totally fine. My dad won't be watching.
So is your family? Is your family originally from LA, or did they migrate over?
Well, I grew up in Miami, and then my parents got divorced when I was like 5 years old. My dad moved here when I was 5, and I'd come and visit all the time when I was like 9, 10ish is when I moved here full time. Just because my mom was going to college and doing other stuff. My mom's Colombian. My father's Italian. Nice. But my dad was like a shady Italian. That's how he met a Colombian in Bogota, right?
He's like, oh yeah, I'm Colombian too. I'm Colombian too.
So, no, he was like, I'm American. I'll get you out of here. And she's like, yep.
Oh shit.
Like, I mean, pregnant and psych.
Yeah, she's like, psych. She's like, West Side. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, so Miami.
Yeah, so and then moved here when I was young. But I had a very fractured childhood. Different people. I wasn't, my dad's, whatever, he didn't care. So it was just the people who did care, I migrated towards them. And I played hockey, and that's why I had to leave LA. But, yeah, man, LA's my home. Like,
how did that happen? Like, you played hockey and you had to leave?
Well, yeah, because you don't get much ice time. Oh. Yeah, I went to high school my freshman year here, but and some crazy shit happened. My dad literally had sex with my hockey coach's wife. Crazy shit.
Oh shit!
But I was good. But I was good enough to migrate on to Michigan, and I played junior Bs, and then I went to college in Indiana. But LA was always my home.
Nice.
Like when I tried to act right out of college. Like I thought, things were going to come so easily, and because I booked a couple things, and they just failed. And I ended up getting a real job and totally kind of gave up on that idea. And I hated working for the man. Like I ended up getting a job with the Wall Street Journal. I made decent money.
Like regular 9-to-5 job.
Yeah, regular, all the time. But I was the public relations manager. So I traveled. I saw a lot of shit, but I hated it. There was nothing, like my mind, I was losing my mind.
Yeah.
Oh, hey,
there he is.
D.
All right, Ryan's just walked in, everybody. Okay, so
Yeah.
you had a
All
Wall,
All right,
the
so
Wall
that's
Street
enough of
Journal.
that practice podcast. Let's start the real ones.
Yeah.
Wall Street
Sorry,
Journal.
guys.
That's crazy.
I'm here.
Yes.
So I was in here in LA though.
Yeah, West,
Okay.
San Vicente and Wilshire, right?
Nice.
The West Coast office. And very luckily, I go into the office one day and they shut down my division.
Oh shit!
Yeah, so...
Hey, by the way, you don't have a job anymore.
And you're fired.
Well, but that's the thing. Like, because of that, they shut down my division. I was able to get a small severance for 3 months. And after the 3 months, I had unemployment for about a year and a half. And that was enough. I got a job at a strip club as a DJ. Seriously, I've done everything I can to make it as a comedian. That's when I started comedy, is when the Wall Street Journal ended.
Oh fuck!
Yeah.
That's the shit out of me.
Oh,
Yeah,
Let me check. Okay, let me see.
Not
Yeah.
gonna hear.
But like, I'm really from LA. Like, I grew up out here in a time when weed was very different.
Yeah.
You know, like I knew
Yeah.
I knew growers who could give
Yeah.
me, you know.
You can just go walk down
a
the
bunch of
street.
stuff
Weed was
on the
oregano.
hip, and I could drive it up the street, and no big deal.
Yeah.
And it's not, you know, I'm from LA. Like I say, I've seen it change. I talk about all the time how
Oh, yeah.
Silver Lake, people are like, oh, it's so hippie. Man, that used to be gangland.
Oh
Seriously,
yeah.
people-
Well, we all grew up in this
Yeah,
area,
yeah,
so
so
we
you
know. Like you
understand.
don't go out there, you know, like you know,
Yeah,
it
Silver
got
Lake
crazy.
used to be a bad area. Eagle
Yeah,
Rock, too.
Eagle
Like the
Rock, all those
worst.
places.
like not even bad. Like you didn't want to get off the highway.
yeah, Echo Park. I wouldn't fucking step a foot
Echo
back
Park,
there.
yeah.
Like you know, what 15
Yeah,
minutes.
you had
now?
friends that lived over there. You're like, ugh.
It's all
Yeah,
mustaches
yeah,
and
thanks,
coffee
man.
shops now, man. I
Yeah,
make
good
this
ass
joke. I
food.
make this joke on stage, but I got lost on my bike in Silver Lake because I feel like there's a different electromagnetism. I swear to God, there is. Like I don't know why. Like I don't have my directions right when I get into Silver Lake. And one time I was 13 years old. I got lost on my bike and I did join MS-13 just to get bus money home. Seriously, like I still have to go to those meetings. You know what I'm saying? Like I got tattoos of these Mexican guys on my back.
That's funny. Yeah, all the way out's in a fucking body bag.
Yeah,
In a box.
the meetings are the worst. I'm like, guys, I don't even speak Spanish.
Oh man, that's great.
So what's up, guys?
Hey, yeah, what's up, Brian? Welcome to the show.
Fuck.
How was that?
Yeah, how was traffic?
Traffic sucks, and my crazy Salvi landlady just bugged me on my way out too. So now I'm pretty pissed off
No,
about that.
no.
Why are you always coming and going?
They're fucking nuts. We talked about this before.
Yes.
So we're actively. I mean, we've only been in this place for not even a month yet, and we're actively looking to move out. And they saw us leaving today, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you can move your car. I'm gonna pull my car off the street. You can park in my spot." I was like, "Okay." So, oh shit.
Oh, that's
Careful.
Okay, we need to worry about, or because last week our guest did the same thing, but I had a beer
Oh
here,
yeah.
and it just
No beer
got
right there.
everywhere.
No
Luckily
beer.
enough, dude, I prayed to God. I was like, it
Put
didn't
some weights on that thing.
It got on here, but it didn't seem to affect
Yeah, we
anything.
gotta buy
And
some
my
little
mouse was
sandbags.
even trying
Yeah,
to shoot it fine.
like mini sandbags of grip. Now, what's your landlady? Hold on, I'm curious.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah,
So
so-
what's going on?
Like they've already. I told you guys already about how. Well, I didn't tell you about how they've been complaining about me spending too much time at home.
What?
So they went and told my fiance that they think that I'm taking advantage of her and that she should
She should leave
Oh
you.
wow.
pretty much.
You know, I was the manager of my building for years, and the worst thing I did was Airbnb my place. Like, fucking A,
All right,
man.
kinda
Like,
break
what are
up
they?
people.
Like,
Damn.
yeah,
They're-
what are they doing?
They're nuts, dude. So that's why I mean it's like real unofficial. It's like a back house at these people's house.
Oh.
That like we knew people who lived in the back house and then we moved in. And now
So
they're
you rent my back house, I'm all up in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it. That's the
Yeah,
deal.
This
so
is
they're-
my house.
So they're giving my chick shit about me being there, me not working enough. And I'm like, why the fuck? Like, if I get
Like,
the
we
rent
pay you
paid,
rent,
you fucking
motherfuckers.
bitch, you shouldn't be telling her whether or not I'm working enough.
yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, you don't need
That is
them
horrible.
planting all kinds of nasty seeds.
Right.
Like, I don't like
Damn.
Right. And
That's some
so,
crazy
and
shit,
so
man.
today, I mean, that was the other day.
Yeah,
Now it's
man.
like today, but it's like just stupid little things then. And then today they moved their car and said I could park in the space on the street. I said, oh, that's nice. And I was like, so I go and I,
blew up your car.
It's
And I
on
go-
fire. You walk out your
They
front
slashed
door.
all his tires.
and I park the car and I back all the way up so that there's space in front of me for somebody else to park. And then they're like, "Oh no, pull forward." And I was like, "Why?" Like they like were real adamant. They would not let me park my car the way the way I parked my car. They wanted me to park the car the way they wanted me to park the car.
Uh-huh.
That's what I'm saying. It's so petty and crazy and weird that it's just this tiny little thing, but it's driving me crazy. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that one might be more about you than them.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah,
I think so. I think it's just me like projecting because I hate them so much.
I
now.
understand the
Yeah,
girl
but
one.
they do sound crazy though.
Yeah,
I mean, the whole girl thing. Is
I mean,
crazy.
it's like
Then they told me to like pay my rent
I was like, what the fuck?
and stop walking around the yard naked.
They told me to pick up my dog shit, and I was
Stop
like,
being so drunk all the time.
"See, well, that's too
And
far."
what is this about? Don't come in our house? Like, what?
You can't use your restroom to shit.
Yeah. I can't
also-
shit in front of her.
Stop checking off on our dogs.
Just being so unreasonable.
Oh, and speaking of dogs, my dog took like 2 massive shits on our rug today too. So
Because you're spending too much time at home.
that makes sense. Why?
There we go.
That makes sense.
We got to the bottom of it.
Let me agree with your landlord.
Well, no one would have cleaned it up if I wasn't home. So
It would just soil the
Would've just
carpet.
fucking-
Yeah, you should have been
spending
like, because the dog shits everywhere.
I'm home taking care.
It's
of
his fault.
I'm taking care of the baby.
Yeah,
Do they know what you do? For all they know, you could be working from home.
That's what I said. That's what Vicky told them. They didn't give a fuck. They were just like,
no, he needs to get out.
Needs to be
He
laying
needs to work
railroad
with
ties.
his hands.
yeah. I was like, did you tell them that I like work nights and like weekends or something? And she's like, yeah. She's like, they didn't give a shit. They thought. Because that lady's nuts, and she thinks she's a psychic, and told Vicky all kinds of weird shit too.
Oh.
Yeah.
Also, he's a demon.
You should actually bring her into the podcast.
Ryan, he's
That
a devil.
sounds like an episode I would. I was telling you, I tune into specific episodes. I think I would tune into that episode.
yeah.
Crazy devil lady.
Crazy.
Of anyone's podcast. of
This week on
anyone's,
Humpcast, we bring you the devil.
So what did I miss? Well, thanks, Brian, for coming in. By the way,
Yeah,
I
Brian,
really
pleasure's
appreciate
all
it.
mine,
Yeah.
man.
It was all on Brian, and then we switched to you, bro. So
Pleasure's all mine. I literally had nothing going, and I was watching House of Cards, and I was getting the funky eye, like too much TV, like the video game eye.
Yeah.
I'm like funky. I like.
You know-
you were jerking it while you were looking at it. He was like,
No,
He's
no,
watching
just-
House of Cards.
It's
and
the
then-
binge eye. You get it when you binge. too much show
Yeah,
on
when you don't
Netflix.
blink. When
Yeah.
you don't blink.
yeah.
Your eyes are all red.
I was
and shit.
watching. What the fuck was the show that I told you? It was I was watching
Forged in Fire.
Forged in Fire. I've been watching the History Channel all day today. It started with the Hitler documentary at 10 o'clock.
Forest and Fire?
Forged in Fire, which actually I gotta check.
Forged.
I gotta check that
Swords,
out.
like swords. I've
Yeah.
seen the
Sword
advertisement.
forged.
That show is so cool, man.
What's the best sword they had?
They remade the
Lightsaber.
no this big sword from the Last Crusade from Indiana Jones.
Oh, nice.
Really?
They made it. They made a replica. They made them make replicas of them, but they have to be able to work too. So
Are they only historical swords?
They give them different references and stuff. Sometimes, yeah. So they'll bring up like old Viking swords that they have to replicate, but they have to be fully functioning. So they test them with how well they whack and all that shit.
So
And
the
they-
contest?
yeah.
And like different
And so different. So
metalsmiths or
so they'll come in and swordsmiths or whatever. Can you turn me up a little bit?
That's badass.
That's
You sound talking to your mic.
What?
You're talking to the side
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
it.
Oh, there we go.
that's a
Like,
sword
over here.
smith.
Why can't I hear myself? I don't get it.
Wow.
Hey.
But yeah, so they.
I might have to watch that show.
It's so
now.
good. So they make them and they only give them like. So the first challenge is always like a little tiny blade, like a small knife or something. And they have to make it in 3 hours.
Oh shit.
So they make it in 3 hours, and then they present it, and then like this is how they eliminate like the first 2 people, and
Yeah.
then
rear
It's
fat.
like Cutthroat Kitchen,
yes,
but with
exactly,
actual knives.
exactly, but way more metal, and
Literally.
And you die.
and then. Yeah, so then they eliminate somebody like that if their blade sucks or whatever, and then after that the challenge is
cut their head off
Then the
or
challenge is the handle, so then the other person gets eliminated if the handle's not good enough,
Interesting.
and then they give
Why
them-
are handles hard to make?
they
I don't know anything.
Maybe
about making
historical
handles.
stuff.
sometimes
I don't
they give you just random stuff to make shit out of. That's the thing.
Oh,
It's
like, like Cutthroat Kitchen.
yeah, so they're like, this
Okay.
is all you have. This is what you have to
Make the handle out of cork.
out of whatever
Yeah,
whatever you
something
have
like
up
that.
there in some.
And
Okay.
some grass.
Yeah. No, okay, that actually makes a lot more sense as to why it's a game show. Because I watched something called Man at Arms where I see these actual professional swordsmiths make kick-ass swords all the time. And some of them are historically accurate. Some of them are like fantasy swords. Like they've made Sephiroth's fucking gigantic blade.
Yeah,
They-
but see, the cool
stuff
thing
like
about
that.
this show is they have to test them by
Yeah.
like they have to make sure they work.
They gotta
Yeah, that's
stab
cool.
somebody.
So
They got to
how
well
stab one of
stab
their
dies.
opponents.
So that's what I was tripping on. Was they
Wow.
have these full scale like torsos that are like they're called ballistic torsos, and that's,
Yeah.
and
Oh, they have, like, Jell-O?
They have Jello and like guts inside.
Yeah.
and
And
so
it's
that's
supposed
what
to
they
be exactly what a human would be like if
Right.
you were to cut it.
So they slice
Oh,
those
stab
things
them
up
to
and stab them and
Oh,
stuff,
wow.
and then like guts come out.
It would be better if the
Gross.
winner had like 3 murder charges at the end, right? That
So,
would
okay,
be
now you two
dope.
fight.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it'd be better
Use
if they
your
had, they had
weapon.
to fight with those weapons after that. Yeah,
Let's see who wins.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I don't know. Was this for me or I just opened it?
Yeah.
Now it is.
I brought it for you.
Yeah, he's
That's what I did.
drinking
friend.
felonious.
No, I brought my brother in. So I'm good.
Felonious?
I'm good.
I brought in some Enjoy By.
Check
from
this
Los
fucking
Angeles.
Colossus beer out.
I know. I got
From
you,
Stone.
You got that at the brewery, right?
I got it at the Stone store.
Oh, right here.
Yeah.
That thing's so cool because they seal them and everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
Can in
And
front
you're-
of
yeah,
your
that's
face.
that's really cool.
Yeah.
I really
it's pretty
enjoy
sweet.
the look of that.
Fucking highs.
It's
bro.
like it's
I bought-
literally any beer. Like that's the
Yeah.
cool thing about Stones, the Stone store in general. I think it's like because like you can go to breweries and sometimes they only say, oh well, we can only fill up growlers with like these 4 beers and that's it. But if it's at the Stone store and it's on tap, then they'll put it in a fucking
Take a little
a
swig.
growler or a crowler. So
Where did that
that's
come from?
awesome.
Did you bring that?
Found it.
No, it's right there. Seems clean. I've drank out of dirtier cups.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
good. It's
This
clean.
weekend,
Found a real clean
I want to
one.
give a shot. I did the it's called the Big Fire Festival in Helena.
Fire Fest.
I had the fire.
Ja Rule. We got Ja Rule.
You were there.
And it
bro?
was it was all weekend in Helena. It was camping. It was the first time I'd ever legit just camped. Like I mean, it was hot as fuck one day.
Nice.
But I mean, they had everything set up. It was for you to have a good time.
That's
It was comedy till 3 a.m. They had
Oh,
going.
shit.
They had music all night. They had installations that no matter how fucked up or what fucked up you were on, you had things to do. I mean,
Nice.
it was super cool. And I think it was their 3rd year. So then they're getting it together.
Oh shit. Where's
Yeah.
that at?
They did it in Helena.
I don't know what the fuck that is.
It's 2 hours away. It's not far. It's just to get there. It's a weird
okay.
way. You
I like
know?
literally never heard of that. Helena,
It's
California.
literally in the desert. It's in the desert.
Lena?
The
Yeah, it's
fuck?
in the desert. It's deep in the desert. I don't even know
Crazy.
if it's a real town.
They
It's
just,
just
they just, they just popped it up for the town.
yeah, that's
for
just
that
what
festival.
what they kind of call it.
Pablo
But it was
Town.
just on some random person's lot, and tons of people were out there.
Damn.
I mean, I almost died from heat and mushrooms. About 10,
Nice.
about
I like that.
Mushroom
about 10
exhaustion.
a.m. Yeah. I just didn't expect the heat to be so oppressive.
Right.
Yeah, I was like,
You
bro,
know, like
I'm ruining
I
my mushroom.
I enjoy
fucking
when the
trip.
sun is out, but it got to be like 98,
Oh, yeah.
99
No,
in the desert. That's a little too much.
Yeah,
I remember when I camped
rough.
in Coachella and like you would wake up because the heat would just be like, and it's like 7 o'clock in the morning. It's already 100 degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like you just wake up and you're just like, why am I drenched in sweat already?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 7 o'clock in the morning. I just went to sleep.
It's stupid.
No,
It's
you really
terrible.
gotta turn me up a little bit, just a little bit, please.
Just talking to your
Yeah,
mic, bro.
plus I didn't
How about you
sleep
use
the
your
night
mic?
before, and I
Right.
think there were a lot of contributing factors that I didn't think about when the heat.
When you ate mushrooms.
Oh yeah.
well, yeah, I mean, there was the heat though. Like
Well,
I
then
would.
you,
yeah,
you gotta
The
hydrate.
heat will fucking
because
kill you.
mushrooms, shrooms make you sweat a lot too.
Yeah,
That's
so
what it is.
I would have planned that a little differently, knowing what I know now,
Yeah.
because I had a big.
Yeah.
How
How was that?
It was cool, man. It was a good
was
time. I would
cool.
totally recommend anyone to do it.
I've done. I mean, I love shrooms, but
You know what?
Oh,
I've-
mushrooms, yeah.
I've only done it once.
Sure, I thought you meant the festival.
I thought you meant
no
the festival.
mushrooms.
No, drugs.
I'm like
No,
the
no,
I'm
just
like the
drugs.
Hunter S. Thompson theory. Like you need our brains are such a complex place, and especially with society and the pressures that we have, we start vibrating at a very toxic level. You know what I'm saying? Like we just
Yeah.
get cluttered with a lot of things.
Everybody
And yeah,
knows.
meditations and things like that help, but sometimes just clearing the brain of the psychedelic does more for the id and the ego
No,
than
it's
anything
true.
else.
Oh,
You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? It
And
just-
I always come back and so it's such a great mood and like a different outlook on things.
well,
Like,
even
when-
though I just felt my mind felt better.
yeah,
And
You get at
there was a
ease.
point because at the morning there was just a bunch of us around the campfire, and I had brought a bunch. And I was just handing them out to people.
Oh, nice.
And because I didn't know how much I'd take, I was like, oh, there's plenty left. And I was
Still never
sitting
done-
there, and a few hours later, like some girl I gave him, she's like, I'd never done mushrooms before. I was like, no, I didn't know. I was just giving them to people. And like, she came up to me, and like there were tears running down. I was listening to a song, and I don't even know what I was crying about. But she's like, am I gonna cry? She's like, these are really cool, but am I gonna cry? I was like, no, I don't think you're gonna trip as hard as me, honey.
I ate about 50 times as much as you did.
But I was just trying to pass out little pinches, give everyone the vision.
Sure,
That's
just
awesome,
little
man.
pinches.
It's very nice.
But yeah. I mean, I never really camped before, but I like making sure everyone has a good time.
Yeah.
I really enjoy that.
Have you ever done the sensory deprivation stuff?
No, but there's a place in Santa Monica that I have a coupon for, and I hear it's super dope.
Yeah, there's one in Pasadena too that I want to try out.
Yeah,
Sounds interesting.
but I asked one of my doctor friends about that, and his first question to me, and I never thought of it. He's like, "Why do you want to do that?"
Why not?
Yeah, but that's one rate, and I
Great
think
question.
about it. And to me, I want to see where my mind goes, because I know, like, I can get pretty deep in meditation. There's been a point in time where I felt like my body removing. It came back real quick, and I haven't been able to get there. But you know what? I can get deep in my brain.
Yeah.
Sure.
I really believe in the power of the mind and certain things that we can achieve. Just by looking within.
Right.
Like we are the gods. I believe. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like some people worship. I believe we are the gods. Like we're the
Sure.
whatever.
Jesus was just a man,
Yeah. I don't.
just some guy.
I'm not trying to get too crazy, but
No, it's a common theory.
yeah. Sure. But what the fuck was I even talking about?
Sensory
We are the
deprivation.
Oh, the sensory deprivation. But I want to see where my mind would go.
Me too.
I don't
Me
know
too.
if I'd be bold enough to do it on mushrooms the first time.
I know.
That'd be amazing.
'Cause I hear Joe Rogan
that
does
or-
on edibles and shit.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if I can
Well,
do
yeah,
that.
I mean, but edibles, it's different kind of
That's
high. That shit
different,
usually
yeah.
just puts me to sleep. They have
Yeah.
these ones that are like 500 milligrams. These bars on 500. That'll.
I've seen 1,000.
Shut the front door.
Yeah,
That's called a coma.
I cut it
Yeah.
into like pieces, and I remember having like just the crumbs. I'm just like, oh, there's little crumbs. Like, let me I don't want to like let these go to waste. And like, I got crazy high off of just the
Why
crumbs
would you
itself.
want 1,000 milligrams of
It was just
weed in
fun.
your, like, but for what
No, it's
reason?
just- I just wanted to go
I
into
found it. And I was just
10
like, yeah,
Why
look
would
at that.
you want 1,000 in your body?
Yeah, it's
though?
ridiculous. I don't know why. I mean, like, there's no way you can eat that by yourself. Like, you have to cut it into like 10 pieces.
What I want to know is what is the most someone's ever done?
I mean, no one's ever died from it. So I mean,
I know no
like,
one's ever died, but I feel like has
I don't
anyone
really
gotten a
know,
coma
like-
or something? For
No,
Not
but
really.
they do say the one.
you just have a bad night.
The one crime stat, like that they can actually say has increased in Colorado is people eating the edibles and calling cops because they think they're dying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They think it's
exactly.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's it's just a regular thing. you
Yeah.
know?
I don't know.
what's
So you don't
going on.
die. You just get too high.
Yeah, you
Well,
just get too
yeah,
high.
it's-
You think you're gonna die, but you
Yeah.
don't.
But what's 1,000? And how much did it cost? 1,000 mil for $50?
No, it was like $20, like $25. I think I got
that
for that
seems
full
low.
brownie.
Really?
Yeah. It was a brownie. It was like $25.
Wow, that's
fuck
like
you
that's
up.
like GHB and a brownie.
Yeah.
Seriously, like you could totally butt rape me if I ate that. I'd wake up the next day like I know my
You
back,
promise?
I
I
know
watched a
my
YouTube
back
video,
hurts,
dude.
but I don't know why.
I watched a YouTube video of a guy who ate the whole fucking thing, and he
And
was
butt
just
fucked another dude?
Oh,
No,
And the guy's name was Brian Moreno.
goddamn right.
You just don't remember it, man. I saw you.
No, I wouldn't. I mean, I've
You ate a whole what?
My back is sore right now from the weekend. And I don't know what I did, but I'm sure something like.
Yeah, there's a guy on YouTube who ate the whole 1,000 milligram brownie, and he didn't feel a thing. Like he wasn't high. Like they checked in on him. Like 3 hours later, he's just like, yeah, I don't feel anything.
What did I tell you about those Dragon Ball dab things? Fucking what? How
Oh,
much?
those
do you
things
remember?
were nuts.
Yeah.
Those are like just pure fucking
THC.
like
That's just all pure THC, like in a
Yeah.
ball, yeah.
See, I like
just-
people from LA. Even when you talk about weed, it's a little different.
3,000 grams of pure cannabis oil.
That's insane.
3,000. Yeah, but
Grams, not milligrams. Grams.
that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
That's
They
nuts.
just talk about weed different, like because it's always just been a part of our culture out here.
Yeah.
California was like one of the
See,
first places to ever have it as medicinal like marijuana too.
This is
So.
all cannabis oil, right?
They've been
here.
since like in the
It's
90s.
spears.
Oh, totally. And my dad, he was that shitty guy. Like, oh, they've been talking about legalizing it forever. It's never gonna happen. And then now,
And then
you
boom,
know,
here we are. Prop 64,
Welcome to
baby.
the future.
Yep.
Trump's America.
Yep.
Oh shit.
That's why Californians use
They're
it.
just making too much money.
That's
It's
how
never
take the
it's all
edge
about
off.
the money. It'll never go away.
Yeah, of course.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
especially after like 2 years from Colorado being legal and Seattle making billions of dollars in it, it just seems like the smartest thing you could ever do. It's like, yeah, now we have all these billions of dollars going to parks and schools and everything that needs the money.
Yeah,
We should give them to that.
we should do that for sure.
Let's do that.
Yeah, totally. All right. You want
Anyway, Brian,
No, seriously.
anything coming up for you as far as shows or
Silver Dollar Saloon at 9 p.m.
coming up?
That.
Yeah.
The one I'm most excited about is the Silver Dollar Saloon at 9 p.m.
If you're watching this live,
with Ryan D. I don't know if you guys
get your ass over there. If you're watching this
Anybody
live,
watching live, get down there.
It's
free.
Anytime I tell anyone this, and I mean this for anyone, and it's a pleasure for me to be here. As much as I can plug any of my shows, and you can find me at BrianMorenoComedy.com or
Boom.
Moreno the Alien on any social media.
Oh.
that. Okay.
Which makes sense. Like, you guys understand. You're like, oh, I get it. Like, I get it.
Like a little alien.
But no, I would say no, because my mother's
Space,
from Colombia.
bro.
Like, I think she met, like, when the Mayans were ruled by the aliens, when
Yeah.
they came down, yeah, my mom definitely had to mix
It's in
a
the
little.
stone.
Yeah.
You can see the aliens in there.
It
The
said
UFOs.
in the stone. It was just carved Brian Moreno. It was a
But,
picture of
So
this
it's
guy.
just, it's just like an arrow that says Brian or the stick figure.
Yeah, right?
It was a
Brian
stuff-
M.
It was a UFO and an arrow, and it just says Brian was here.
That'd be fucking great. Anyway,
But they-
what were you
but
saying?
they-
I'm gonna go there and just carve that shit.
You're gonna go to the ancient Mayan?
Yeah, they're just gonna find it. And be like,
They
oh
were
shit.
definitely
We're gonna go
aliens
shit
or
Brian
something
was
that came here before.
There's gonna be Ricky carving.
How did we miss this?
Yeah, there's gonna be Mayan ruins carved by Ricky. It says Brian was here. Also, listen to Humpcast.
Humpcast.com.
Yeah, listen to Humpcast.
Like they knew websites back then.
Uh,
Anyway, Brian, what were you saying? You said.
Oh
something
yeah,
about your
if
shows.
anyone of your listeners, anyone ever wants to go to anything, even the Comedy Store, the Laugh Factory, and the Improv, because I'm very fortunate. I'm a club. I get most of my time at the clubs, the least at the Comedy Store, the most at the other two. But I'm, I love to support the arts, and if any one of your fans, if any one of your friends, anyone want to go to the comedy clubs, just shoot me a line. I'll make sure you and your good friends get them for free anytime.
Oh, boom.
No problem at all.
there you go.
Check
Yeah,
out.
right
Everybody's
now.
watching.
Yeah, anytime, I support the art itself. I want people to enjoy themselves anytime,
Sure.
That's awesome.
whether I'm performing or not.
Also 2 drink minimum, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, at least you get them for free.
Yeah,
at least you
for
get them for
free.
free.
Yeah.
I
That's-
can't.
That's your part. It's
Yeah.
just you got to buy 2 drinks.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's your part.
But
right?
drinks are good.
Yeah.
Just want to drink.
And they'll be dope shows. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They're always dope
Yeah,
shows.
every night at like the Improv and the Laugh Factory are just like killers.
Yeah, man.
Every
All
night.
the
You never know
time.
who's gonna come in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very fortunate. I used to be the MC of the House of Blues. That's kind of how I got
Oh,
my
shit.
start.
That's that's how I got to know who you were because I used to play in a band and I used to work.
Oh, really?
And there was a guy who worked with you, I think.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
That's how we got connected somehow. Or whatever.
Yeah. One of the Brian Zeno.
Brian Zeno.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was actually one of the first.
So he told me to hit you up like way back when I first started.
Oh
yeah.
man, that's crazy. Yeah, Brian had I was doing just some main stage stuff, like just regular hosting MC stuff, and he was one of the bookers of the Foundation Room. And he
Which
was
is the upstairs at the
which is the
at
upstairs.
the House of Blues.
And I was just doing one night. The main stage producer was like the band who all these people. There's 900 people out there, and they paid for the band, but the bus broke down. Lead singer's got laryngitis. A whole bunch of bullshit. Told me like thousands of different reasons why they didn't show up. And he's like, we got a backup band, but we're not going to refund them, so you got to go out there. And he's like, you're funny. He's like, do 5-6 minutes of jokes. Go be funny.
Go do
So I
funny
went out
bits.
there, and people are yelling, "Bah," and I'm like, I don't want to be here either. Yeah, and just being cool. And Brian sees me, and he's like, look, I'm about to fire this guy who's got this room. He's doing an art mixer.
About to go fire.
Yeah, an art mixer. Like
I love
literally
that
right there.
saying.
He brings me upstairs. This guy's doing an art mixer in the Foundation Room, like 5 people there, and he's like, all right, you're cut. He's like, you don't get any more time. I was like, what? I have stuff playing. He's like, well, sorry.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, can you do a comedy show in this room?
Sweet.
And that's how it all started.
Yeah.
And then from there, it was just like one of the craziest shows. People would be lined up out the door.
Right.
Wow, that's awesome.
And I got a huge email list. That's how I got my following in LA because of the MC stuff. And then, because I would give people free tickets I've been giving free tickets since I can remember. And And then I would get people. My show was a free show, no drink, no nothing. And I gained a following because I would shake every hand. And I make everyone, because a lot of people, it's all about me right now. And I don't know, my mind doesn't comprehend that mentality because you need all of it. It's like a symbiotic fucking ecosystem. You know what I mean? Without the audience, there are no comedians. Without the people who constantly support you and constantly there for you, you're just another person. You know how many comedians in LA no one will come see?
Right.
And that's it, you know what I'm saying? Like 0 people.
Yeah.
Like 0.
Sure.
And they have serious credits, but they don't. Yeah, I enjoy the whole thing. The whole thing. And that's why I was telling you, and I eventually want people to pay $25, $30 on a Friday night and be thrilled that they got those tickets to listen to me talk. Dressing up, and I'm going to shake every hand. When you see Tom Cruise, he takes every picture. He'll stay for hours, his security, and take every picture. And that's why he's one of the last movie stars. There's only few.
Exactly.
Will Smith, Barry,
there's like some people say there's a handful. There are less than a handful.
Yeah. Because everyone who, no matter what he does.
I can say firsthand, I've been to a movie theater where Tom Cruise, it was like I forgot what movie it was, but he was, I think it was the fourth Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, and there's a premiere, and he came out, and he actually he said something, and I said hi to everybody at the movie theater, and his after he was done speaking, a bunch of people went up and tried to talk to Tom Cruise, and literally his security guys were dragging him away from everybody because he wanted to meet everybody, and he was saying hi to everybody.
And I've heard that before too. His security,
they were dragging him away. They were like, "No, we gotta go," and he was just like, "All right, whatever."
Well, I've heard that, and that's why it affects people because
that was crazy.
He's
a
nice
I've seen
guy, and people want to. So even
and someone his caliber, he can be an asshole. He has every right to be a complete asshole.
So that kind of stuff, I see that, and even at the smallest level, I would try to do that.
Yeah,
and that's awesome.
That is a great sort of ideal to have, because that's what people lack a lot, is just being humble or thankful for the people that your fans or
social media. You guys understand because likes have tricked us into relevance, okay? Because we all want to be relevant. We all want to be.
People like me.
Yeah, and likes have people oh, that makes me relevant. I need again. No. Likes are one thing. Relevancy is a whole nother thing.
Exactly. Well, business doesn't get that at all. They're going to be like, how many likes you got?
Yeah. I didn't get a roll on Ray Donovan because I don't have enough Instagram followers.
Yeah, exactly.
No, seriously. The last thing. First audition, it was a bunch of us. Last audition, it was just me and this good-looking black guy, and we rolled the lines. They rewrite it. It was supposed to be a Scottish guy, and they rewrite it ethnically ambiguous, because it was me and this black guy, and I'm like, they like us both. The last question they asked is, "Oh, what's your handle? What's your Instagram handle?" And at the time, it was even before I was Moreno the Alien. I had nothing. This was a year and a half ago, and I still don't have shit. But later on, I find out, I knew they gave it to him because I saw him on the show, but they gave it because it was the Instagram. They're like, "Yo, we just," and because he had some other stuff, he had 18,000. Yeah. So if they like us both,
you could fucking pay for those.
That's who knows if he did or not? But
what I'm saying, go to their pictures.
Yeah.
Go to their pictures. And fucking see who's actually participating on their shit. Not just likes, because you can still kind of pay for those.
Yeah.
But commenting, saying, "Oh my god!" Look at the comments on anything.
That's actually
even
good.
just a selfie. So the praise, the diehard fans will say, "Oh my god, you're so handsome or beautiful or whatever." Just a fucking selfie, and that's real people, realer at least. You're still gonna get the, "Hey, look at my profile. I have titties. I have sex. I have sex."
It sucks to lose a 3-episode role because of. I'm over it, but you know what I'm saying. I'm like, fuck, it would have helped.
Doesn't seem like it.
Yeah.
No, it was between me, like I say, it was me and a good-looking black guy. Sure. And if you wanted me to be a good-looking black guy, that's all you had to say. I would have done that so quickly. Put it in the thing.
We're looking for a good-looking black guy.
That's
not ethnically ambiguous.
Man. Bullshit.
Oh man. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Because especially in this scene, there's kind of like a whole new, less traditional way of doing things, and you're right. The whole social media thing makes everything so impersonal, and so when people at my age range and kind of status, when they go out, they don't think that that's something you have to do. Instead, they think you got to do 6 spots in a night, and instead of hanging out at one show and just meeting all the people that really enjoyed you.
And I still do, even when I don't meet people. I'll hang out at the shows. I'll meet all the comedians, you know, like just anyone, like shows that I'm not on, just because I like to meet different people and I like different opinions. And like I was telling you, I love realism. Like I love the difference in opinions. Like I enjoy. That's also why LA is my home, because everywhere else in the world, I feel like I don't fit in anywhere. I just don't fit in. Like I stand out like a sore thumb. There's the way I think and the way I talk. This is the one place where I feel a little more accepted.
Sure.
And especially, I don't like New York. I tried. I booked a pilot and lived in New York, right in Times Square. I was at Viacom for 3 months, 4 months, and I hated it. I didn't like the shadows. I didn't like people in a big hurry to wait in line. I didn't too many shadows. But
what does that mean, shadows?
The buildings.
Sorry.
The buildings. Even no matter how nice the day is, they cast a shadow, and you don't ever get your piece of sunshine.
I never really thought that would be an issue.
No. But to me, like I pay my price for sunshine.
It's because I never experienced that before. I never experienced not having sunshine. I guess.
Going to college in Indiana was fucking brutal. 4 years, man. There'd be times in the winter when they'd be like, "Don't be outside for more than 10 minutes because it's so cold." And I'd have like a 15-minute walk to class. Like, looks like I gotta take it next semester, right? Like, seriously, brutal.
God damn.
Yeah, I had to take financial accounting pass fail because it was 8 a.m. and always during the winter. And I'm like, man, I'm only gonna make the test. I'm only gonna go to the test. I'm only gonna go to the test. I will pass the test. I may pass the D, but I don't give a fuck. I ain't gonna get up at 7:45.
Yeah, that's
ridiculous. Yeah, man, I ain't risking my life. Learn about Roth IRAs. Fuck you. Okay. If I'm worried about a Roth IRA, I'll ask somebody.
All right,
with the internet.
We got to move on, but tell the folks where they can find you one more time.
BrianMorenoComedy.com or Moreno the Alien. And I'm super appreciative for anyone who listens. I don't care if it's 5 people or if it's just us 4. You guys, if I can ever do anything for you or your friends, just hit me up. I totally.
That's a great fucking mindset, dude.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
All right, thanks for coming in. Again, I don't know if you listen to any of the episodes, but the way we do things is Ricky goes into his stories.
We got the business out of the way.
All right.
Just relax. Here we go.
Welcome. So what's up, everybody? This is Ricky C. Microsoft, Nintendo, and PlayStation. There's actually a really big expo going on right now for video games. It's called E3, announcing a new hardware system. What's up, Ricky C?
Brothers alone is got me feeling good.
Do we have any other beers in here?
There's Miller Lights in the fridge on the inside of the house.
All right, I'll go get those.
On the inside.
No, that's cool. I'll just
On the inside.
They already said they didn't want them. So
Yeah, go for
Yeah,
it.
they're all left over from the party.
Yeah.
Boom. So all right. So I have pretty much there was a big event that happened this past weekend, and that was the Apple's Worldwide Developer Conference.
Yeah.
Usually this is more focused on the software end of Apple's system, so you'd see a lot more of like, this is going to be our next Mac system, just the operating system itself, not necessarily the hardware aspect.
Oh, okay.
But
what's the one with the hardware usually?
That's usually the one coming in. It's usually like around September. That's when they announce like the new iPhones.
That's what I thought this was.
So that's not what this is. This is strictly for developers. This is like, here's what we have. This is kind of like, the new operating systems, and this is what you're going to be developing for us if you want to continue, like, being in the App Store, basically. So what they've done now this time is announced not only just new hardware and upgrades, but a completely different new product in itself, which is HomePod, Apple's new smart speaker. So we've seen things from Google called Google Home. We've seen Amazon Alexa. And now we have Siri in the speaker itself.
Wow. The fuck?
So
like
Alexa, like Google Home, this is something that you can talk to. You can say, hey, what's the weather today, Siri?
Mm-hmm.
Or hey Siri. So hey Siri hey Siri is now, like, if everybody has an iPhone. That's usually what it's like the words that you use to call up Siri. So if you can have Siri, like,
don't say it right now.
You can have your phone off and you can say, hey Siri.
Hey Siri.
And now all your phones are going to go off.
I have it on low battery mode. It's not going to work.
Yeah, so if you do have it in normal.
Where's Ricky's phone?
I have it so you don't say that.
You can turn it off.
Yeah,
It's pretty annoying.
It's annoying. Because you can say like, oh, you can say like something like, I think if I ever said like, oh, are you serious?
Yeah,
They'll set it off.
I didn't understand you.
Yeah.
I heard you call me. You were talking about me, huh?
So that's been the next step. So everyone realized that Siri has its setbacks. It's not necessarily the best AI system compared to Google Home and Alexa.
Really?
Yeah, it hasn't been that great. I mean, it's good, but it still has its
really
faults.
good reviews,
Alexa's
huh?
great.
That's
Yeah,
what I hear.
Alexa's pretty
I've
good.
still never seen one in person.
Yeah,
No,
I've seen a lot of video
I've seen
reviews.
a couple, and the way they use it. But I was curious how, like, with kids and whatnot, just because it's a couple, that has it.
Right.
And they're like, Alexa, play Toby Keith or what. And, but I'm just curious how
Right,
it would be if you needed.
That's
And you
smart.
hook up your house, raise
Yeah,
it
exactly.
3 degrees.
Yeah, that's
something
pretty
like
cool.
that.
Yeah,
Ooh, really?
That's exactly what Siri that HomePod can do. It's you can tell Siri if it's connected. It has the ability to connect to different things in your house. So you can have now the Philips Hue lights that are Wi-Fi enabled, the Nest systems for your temperature. It's all controlled now through this as well. So you can say, "Hey Siri, raise the temperature in my house," or "Hey Siri, turn on the lights in the living room." Hey Siri, let's turn on the TV.
Anybody listening to this right now, their phone's
Their
going
phone's
crazy.
going crazy. I didn't understand that. They've also done things to make it smarter. I mean, Siri now has it's almost like a different voice.
Can they get her to understand when you're actually calling Siri?
Yeah. So
Goldfish.
there's been a lot of updates, not only to the
Whole
software
grain.
aspect. Those healthy.
Yeah.
So now even the hardware. So now we're seeing new MacBook refreshes. We're seeing completely new Mac refreshes. The actual, if you see the big towers, or not the towers, but the big screens that have like the computers in them. They were just basically the huge, ginormous screens.
Yeah.
We also have now, like I said, the new HomePod has a lot of stuff in there. So it's, it has a bunch of crazy tech in there that you can put it anywhere in your house. There you can have multiple, and they all
What does it
connect.
look like?
It looks like this little guy right here. So,
Oh, that thing. Okay.
yeah,
No,
so
literally what I was show me. 'cause
tiny little speaker. I'm gonna try to not fuck up everything here.
So, like,
That's a marshmallow.
Just a marshmallow.
It does look like a marshmallow.
Just a little marshmallow.
What I was picturing was there was this old school mound thing that I think.
Well, they had that other iMac that was basically like a fucking futuristic trash can.
Yeah.
And they got rid of that real
Yeah.
quick because they're just like, yeah, this is retarded.
They have a marshmallow now.
So now they have a marshmallow. And it's a speaker.
Siri lives in a marshmallow.
There's a lot of really good tech in here. That, I mean, like you can really put this like in anywhere in your house, and it kind of has the spatial awareness to know where it's at, and kind of adapt to the room that it's in.
Has anyone here seen the movie Why Him with James Franco and Bryan Cranston?
No.
I just watched it. I forgot how I watched it, but it doesn't matter, I guess. But they have this Siri / well, not Siri because this is new, Alexa sort of knockoff. But it was hilarious because how he did it was like, oh, that's my house AI. It was it Kaylee Kuko or something, the girl from Big Bang Theory.
Oh, okay.
It was just her, but it was so advanced that it was like a person. So it's like, I just need to be left alone. Like, all right, I got you. I'll leave you alone. Fuck it. like she would. It's like she was a real person. I thought that was the best interpretation of like an AI, and it literally made me bust up in all the ways that they used her. So I actually, if you guys haven't and you're interested, check out that movie. It's pretty sick.
Nah.
It's actually funny. No, it's like it doesn't look as funny.
Got Bryan Cranston in it.
Bryan Cranston and James Franco, and it's actually very funny. No lie. Like I thought it looked stupid at first.
Yeah, just took a little jazz cigarette before you.
I think somebody started playing it, and I watched it, and I was literally laughing out loud. And that's it's fucking it's rare. So
Did you guys bring up Wonder Woman at all?
not
Yeah,
yet.
yeah.
My segment, I'm gonna-
Yeah. So let me get through this real quick. So we have the HomePod now, which is completely new hardware from Apple. Something that's never been announced in a worldwide developers conference.
Why would you just call it Marshmallow? It's a fucking
I
marshmallow.
don't even like the name fucking HomePod.
Yeah, no,
It's a
Marshmallow.
Stupid name.
Apple Marshmallow.
Well, HomePod makes sense.
It does.
The AirPods,
But,
right? AirPods?
Yeah, the AirPods.
They're always iPod,
Yeah,
pad. I
always
mean, the
pad.
iPod, the iPad.
And that's exactly what they went into. Like
I'm Marshmallow.
Yeah.
I'm Mellow.
So yes, there's that. There's obviously now we have iOS 11 coming out. There's got a lot of cool features in it. The new operating system for MacBooks is High Sierra, which was just Sierra before, so now it's High Sierra.
Good because of the drink. Because high, C.
Now it's higher. It's more. There's more higher.
No.
It's higher, C.
But one of the coolest things to come out of for iOS 11, which is if anybody has one of the newer iPhones, is that for AR, surprisingly, Apple has now a real. They want to get their hands in augmented reality. So for those of you who don't really know what augmented reality is, the best case scenario I can think of is Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
You see, where they kind of overlaid the Pokemon, you had this sort of digital creature using the camera and the world that surrounds you. Now Apple's kind of taking their aim at that and saying, hey, we can make this a lot smarter. We can make it so that it can kind of, it can sense that there's a table here. This is a surface. We can plant things on here now, and it can actually be real. It's using the actual environment that's around.
That's right. I saw a little bit of an example of this. I think someone's Instagram or Snapchat stories, they had tags that were following things. And I was like, how are they doing this? I have an Android, so I guess I didn't do that.
That'd be kind of cool for things like home decor. You know what I'm saying?
Right, yeah. So you can kind of get an idea of
you could
what
take
something would look like in your house.
like a panoramic photo of your room and then figure out where you want to put things.
Right. Not only, so it has endless possibilities that this could really help at. But one of the cool things that they kind of showed off at this conference was that it was Peter Jackson's company that kind of developed this little movie, I guess, for it.
Hobbit.
So they put it so they basically had it so that it's they had a table there and it was all a live demo. And they had basically a real movie kind of playing out. They had a full it caught the table. It built this whole little I guess little town on top of it. And in this town, you're really able to go around the table once it's set, and you're basically the director of this little sort of scene that's kind of happening. And it was really cool. That was one of the things I was just wow.
That's Peter Jackson's company.
Yeah, Peter Jackson. So the guy behind
Lord of the Rings and King Kong.
Yeah. So so some real cool stuff they're going to be able to do with this.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Apple Watch. There's some updates too, but the big thing is the Apple HomePod and the newer updates to the operating systems. So that's it for my stories. Let's get into Garrett's.
Let's do that.
That was actually extremely informative, and I'm really curious about the Apple system because I don't know if Steve Jobs was as big of an innovator as everyone says. I don't know. But if Apple can't, now that Microsoft is allowed to do hardware, because people don't know, they weren't allowed to be in the hardware game for 10, 12 years for antitrust stuff.
Yeah.
And that was part of their agreement. And so they're way behind the curve. Now that Microsoft and Samsung and even Amazon is coming out with another operating system phone, can Apple really? Because is Apple really going to be the company that they were? And I'm really curious if there's any of this stuff is going to be innovative at all.
I don't think they're trying real hard.
No, well, just because everything they do now seems reactionary.
It is,
and
I
that's
agree with you.
Yeah, that's why all the stuff you're saying, it's we get it because we've seen it from other people.
Yeah,
they
have an Alexa.
They're definitely falling behind.
So that to me is fascinating because you're telling me that I'm wow, we all know this from other companies.
Yeah.
It was never like that before. You're always what?
But
you can do what?
But that is kind of how it was. I think right when he died. It was them and Samsung were coming out with something that was very similar, and then Samsung went and came out with it, and it had so many problems, and then Apple waited, and then they came out with theirs.
That's what they've been doing lately. They're okay, we're gonna we see what you guys are doing, we're gonna wait, and then we're gonna make it better.
Right. Well, see, that's but Sony was doing the same thing with the PlayStation. They just waited too long, and Xbox kept chipping in and chipping in, and and they lost that huge market share. Because remember PS2. If you didn't have a PS2, you were lame.
Yeah. PS3 came out. I was what the fuck? Who has a PS3?
But
almost PS3, I was I can't afford one. Then I got a job, and I was wait a minute, I can't actually. I can't afford this.
I would still prefer Xbox. I just
got an Xbox One, and I love it, but I don't like I don't like that I can't find real classic games in the store. I love that about.
Really?
I had
I've never looked. So
I had PS3. And I bought and downloaded so many old Nintendo, PlayStation,
PS4 is remastered.
That's a licensing thing. That's just a licensing
thing. So Sony has
because they don't care.
They hold a lot of Sega stuff. Sega and Crash Bandicoot and fucking
they have their hands.
See, I've actually I've heard the online part of PlayStation is a little
it's much
superior.
better,
Yeah. But the box itself, the functionality, the Microsoft, I guess.
I like
slick.
exactly. It's
like compared.
exactly like that. Yeah. Because I didn't have a PS4. I had a PS3, but even on the PS3, you were able to I loved that I had all 3 Mortal Kombat games.
See,
I could play Super Nintendo if I wanted to.
Microsoft.
Yeah.
This is a really, you guys do provide a really great podcast for your people. You do. I love that. Cover a lot of topics because I know time is also a commodity.
Yeah.
And I think the things that you try to cover it's not only enlightening, but it's stuff that people will use. You know what I'm saying? Like
Sure.
people will use a lot of this information, so I'm trying to contribute that level of information.
Good job, dude.
Well, unfortunately, there's no big
appreciate
hacks
it.
that happen,
We appreciate
but,
it. Oh yeah, Ricky's always the one coming in telling us news about like people getting hacked and things to look out for because no one fucking tells you this. So like
I try to post like all the websites where it's like most of the time like there's big companies like when Target had like a big breach, there's Home Depot. All these big companies like what they do is like they'll kind of like offer like, oh, by the way, like if you think you're affected, like go to this website and you'll get free credit monitoring. Well, they don't really shout that out to this. You're not gonna see that on TV.
No, they don't say it on TV.
Yeah, they're not gonna really shout that out because it's something that they have to pay for. It's not for free.
And a lot of these stories should be like headline news, but it's not. He has to go dig. I mean,
it is on fucking Humpcast.
Yeah. So I try to shoot out those websites that kind of say like, if you've been affected by this, Chipotle was the one I covered, I think last week.
Yeah,
Chipotle just had a huge hack that happened. So
Recently, I didn't
recently.
hear.
This was about
most
about
of
a
the
week
stuff
ago.
that he says, we don't hear unless he says
Yeah.
What was that?
And
Could you just give me a clip note?
Chipotle got hacked. I mean, if you were there between, I think it was like, somewhere there's a time frame.
Some dates.
There's a time frame
it. It
between
was within like a few months
but it was
recently.
It was
so
all the stores though. I mean, it was literally like all the stores I looked up. They had a website that said these are all the stores that we have that we know for sure got hacked. Check it. If you think we went between these dates, then most likely you've been in this hack. So they had all that. I checked all the stores.
Wow.
And like literally,
I never heard.
I think any store within like a 100-mile radius was all. I found
still
them.
a business. How can you have like restaurants with bats flying around and all like literally they like their pork or something was infected for months and they're just serving
yeah,
it
that's
out.
No, that's why they cut it out. Yeah,
That's right,
For
yeah.
a while, there's no carnitas for a long time.
March 24th to April 18th.
That's the date. Yeah. So and it was at least 95% of the stores were affected
it's like-
by this.
Half the reason I went to Chipotle is because his interview on Oprah talking about how great the pork was. All right, I quit going. Like, how in the world is that company still in business? Like, who he had to sell his soul to more than the devil. Like, seriously. I mean,
Super
Oprah. I
devil.
guess Oprah is bigger than the devil.
Oprah is the devil. Is anyone else?
question.
Okay, so I am mesmerized by your fucking sunglasses right now. You're like Ka from the Jungle Book. Every
What?
time
I am.
Yeah, you have these rainbow eyes, dude. Where did you get these sunglasses? That's what I want to know, actually, right now.
I'm not sponsored by them, so I'm not going to say anything.
Okay, but they say glassy on the side.
Yeah.
Are they on the sunglass website? Really pretty. Like, did you just get them? They're new.
I
right?
did. Yeah, they're new.
All right, well, you're not sponsored by them, so fuck them.
If they want to sponsor us, I'll shut them out to the fucking heavens.
There we go. Did we even go to my stories already?
We did not. Let's
No.
go into that.
All right, let's do that.
Oh shit! I hit the wrong button. Here we go.
I may have some news for you. Go ahead.
Entertainment news, everybody. This just broke out. I'm not gonna get to this story. I have a question for you. News story that'll make you guys a little bit tingly in the fans. Okay, we need to move on from that. I need to get away from that real quick.
I read somewhere that their periods attract bears.
All right, everybody. Did anyone here go to the movies? And I know the answer to that question for at least two of you. So, did you go to the movies this weekend, Brian?
No, this weekend I told you I was in the desert tripping
right.
acid. I didn't tell you I tripped acid and then I did mushrooms.
Oh, so you were...
But that's why I didn't sleep, and then I ate the mushrooms. So I was like, I probably didn't think that out. There could have been better planning.
You created your own experience. That's
I
what
love
happened.
it. That sounds awesome.
He directed his own movie in his brain.
I made a movie. You guys.
I wrote a script.
It was beautiful.
So
But then it burned to flame.
But I saw War Machine on Netflix.
Nice.
Which should have been in the theaters.
Uh-huh.
theaters should be scared because that is actually a major motion picture. That's the first time Netflix has produced something where you're like, that is a move that should be in the theaters.
Remind me what that one is?
War Machine. It's about the
Adam Sandler movie.
no. It's Brad Pitt, starring Brad Pitt. It's about the general
That's right,
who had a
that's right,
story
that's right,
written
yeah.
about him during the Obama administration by Rolling Stone.
Oh.
He and he got fired by Obama. He was the general of Afghanistan, and he did like a 60 Minutes interview, which I remembered. And he was kind of he was a true patriot. He just tried to get eyes on his cause because and he did his best. But it's a crazy story and it's an excellent movie. And you're watching it and you can't stop because you're like, this is a real movie. I would pay $12 to see this on a date or something, and I wouldn't leave upset.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You wouldn't go with your boys to that movie, but you know, like, but you throw it on, you're like, fuck. That's and Brad Pitt is Brad Pitt. Yeah. One of the few movies that you watch him and you're like, fuck. I know you're Brad Pitt, but you're acting your ass
Killing
off.
it right
You're
now, right?
acting your ass off.
Yeah.
Nice. And that's actually one of the things that I have brought up before. Netflix is killing it right now, and they're actually in production with a lot of great shit.
Well,
that
Will Smith movie that's supposed to come out.
There's so there's that
$100
I brought that
movie.
I brought that one up. There's also the Scorsese flick that's going to be coming up. That's with
Food delivery.
Pacino. You have
How do I sign up for that shit?
Yeah, you have I was gonna Joe Pacino, Joe Pesci, Al Pacino, and Robert De Niro all teaming up together for a Scorsese flick on fucking Netflix.
Look, the one thing that the CEO, I guess it really affects him, is that they don't get any consideration by the Academy. That they go to Cannes and get booed.
Seriously?
Oh yeah,
Who's that?
the CEO of Netflix. I forget his name.
Really? Because they think he's like killing television and the movie
because they're not
industry.
getting released in theaters, and those are films. And they're like, how can it be a film if you don't release it in any theaters? You know, like it is. But I know that's a purist kind of that's kind of like baseball used to be better kind of guy.
Yeah.
You know, like you can't change the purity. No, man, you get delivered information differently. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong. There's something nice about seeing things on a big screen, but time is a commodity, like I was saying. And time didn't used to be a commodity like it was. Well, and when you're paying $10, $12, $13, $14 a month for a subscription, you better be getting major motion pictures like that.
Oh, yeah.
You better fucking be, because we know how many subscribers you got.
Yeah.
And that's,
and there's a lot of
fucking
services
money.
trying to compete, and they've seen how easily you can just be gone.
Yeah.
You can just be gone.
Agreed.
Yeah, what do you think about CISO?
Well, look, I happen to be wearing these tees because I get a lot of love at the Improv, and I was doing one of my shows like, we have a bunch of shirts, give them out, and they fit nice and whatever.
They're trying to do their own.
I don't know what that
Okay,
is.
this is, and I'll give you the lowdown.
Let me hear it.
Ain't no one ever going to pay for CISO, but it was backed by NBC, and what I hear right now is I think someone just left. One of the big guys behind CISO just left. And they're looking to, off it all. And somebody just scoop it all.
You know what CISO is?
I don't know what she's.
Okay, well, no, CISO.
I see his shirt, but I don't know what it means.
It's a subscription-only service, which is primarily comedy content with a lot of specials, some TV shows, but primarily specials. And they tried to make it basically artist-driven. Like, the biggest special that I thought was exclusively released on a
Joey's?
No, I was gonna say Doug Stanhope, but Joey's up there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, sure. And but they tried to make it artist driven, but they tried to make it artist driven with like mid-level artists.
It was the title of comedy.
But you know what I'm saying? Like guys who in that same thing, like who no one will come see them perform. They have credits, but 0 people will come to see. They're like, well, I mean, we don't know. We have no.
Yeah, even for like the music service of Tidal, like that had like the huge names behind it. That had like Daft Punk and Jay-Z and like everybody, and no one bought it.
But as we're talking about this, Netflix, all they had to do, like even they weren't the greatest specials either. Like I watched them, they weren't the greatest. But you Netflix, who they have Dave Chappelle coming back. That immediately has Amy Schumer, who was hot as fuck when they decided to fucking do that. So Amy Schumer, boom. Like all this stuff, like you get the titles, that's what gets you to watch.
But those are cheap for them to produce.
Very.
To them, it's
And they weren't
change.
even great either.
Well, they don't have to be. It's just additional content that's theirs.
Yeah,
that's
production
yeah.
value is nothing for that.
Not only the cost in general. They put up a couple billboards to
Yeah.
promote,
And you know what's funny?
let it go.
Some of the funniest ones I've watched a few of like the specials on Netflix. One of the funniest ones are ones that I didn't even see being promoted.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
you know what my favorite is right now? I'll swear. Okay, so this is I love this. Joe Coy's special. This the one he just released. I thought it was fucking hilarious. I've watched it 6 times.
Have you Neil Brennan?
6 fucking times.
Neil Brennan's
Neil
special
Brennan's is good.
I've never seen anything so unique and really true to form, because sometimes you watch it and you're like, your comedy doesn't translate. It was perfect. Like you watch it and it's like, wow, like it really. If you were there and saw it live, I don't know what it would have been like, but it was perfect for Netflix. You watch Neil Brennan's, you won't. It's one of those you can't
That's
stop.
the 3 mic ones, right?
Yeah.
No.
It's amazing. It's amazing. It's really, and
it's very unique.
I've talked to him a few times about it. You know, I don't like to be, he's my homie, he's nice to me, but I don't like to be a fanboy of it. But that was what he did. I was like, man, innovative and witty and true to who you, and that. What more can you ask for? Yeah. You're respected. You have money. Like for a guy like me, I'll do anything. I'll suck a dick.
Straight up.
So on this episode alone, you said you'd get raped.
Free tickets.
Get raped. And
I'm from LA. I joined MS-13. I joined MS-13, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I have
He has a front.
It's cool. It's fine.
And I'm like this all the time. Like, and when you see me on stage, it's the same shit, just a few more jokes. That's just very few, but
It's like this, so you laugh a little less.
Sure, whatever. I set myself up for that. Like, I get it. That was more my fault than anyone else's. Sure.
Nice. All right, well, let's bring it back in real quick.
Go ahead.
All right, we already said. All right, so I know for a fact that Ricky, myself, and Ryan all saw Wonder Woman. Ryan's leaving right now, apparently.
Ryan says, fuck Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman, without any sort of surprise, is number one with $103.3 million opening this weekend, which, I mean, for a blockbuster itself, I will say is pretty good, but not amazing. However, for what Wonder Woman actually was, I believe it was pretty amazing.
What was the take?
Okay, so this weekend alone, it said $103.3 million.
That's worldwide or just
domestically? Just domestically.
And the production
That's a lot.
was how much?
Production was actually 103.3 exactly. So it made its money back only even just domestically.
That doesn't take in some of the. They don't release some of the marketing.
Yeah.
So, but that not only is that incredible, man. If they make that in the U.S. on weekend one, they'll double that. Weekend two, that'll be one.
Pretty damn.
That might be one. That might go up. Next weekend 120 because
we'll talk more about like exactly because there's one movie that I think is the only thing that would be a big draw next weekend. But
too.
wait,
already.
What is the release next weekend?
I'll talk about it after this segment.
Sorry,
after this part. No, but yeah, Wonder Woman. We 3 got to see it. We actually do have a review coming eventually.
Wow,
I didn't even know that.
I like your guys' podcast.
I totally. Do you even read the fucking message board, dude?
No.
Okay.
You have a message board for the podcast?
Well, for yeah.
For us 3.
That's
our message.
It's
a group message.
Whenever I see
Behind the
seen, when I see seen by everyone, I assume you see it.
Yeah, sure.
It's okay.
Assume that.
All right, but yes, so we will have some sort of review coming up for Wonder Woman. We all get to see it real quick without any spoilers. Ricky C, what do you think of this movie and that you saw? And do you think this is a good number for it to have made opening weekend?
Yes. On all that. It was great.
Yes.
I loved it.
Cool. Nice. And Ryan Poke D. Jesus.
Brian Poke my D.
He's literally like get in as much Poke.
I thought it was great, man. Obviously the best Warner Brothers DC movie so far.
Oh, by far.
Really?
See, can you turn me up? Is it just me? I can't fucking hear
Probably
myself.
headphones.
It's just you, because
Probably
you're
headphones.
as loud as I am.
Okay, I can't hear myself.
100% your headphones.
Okay.
And you have the newest of all the cords too, so it's your headphones.
What the fuck was I saying? Oh yeah, so but you know what was crazy is like I think it definitely deserves how much money it's made. It's definitely a great movie. Instant classic too because it's the first Wonder Woman movie ever. So this one's gonna be like the historical, the one, just like the way we still talk about the Superman movies that came out in the 70s, and Batman in 89 and 92 or whatever.
Right.
But you know what I did notice was that there wasn't that much marketing for this movie. And I don't like to pull this like, the sex card or whatever, but it's definitely feels that way that this one wasn't promoted as much as like a man's blockbuster.
Batman v Superman.
Batman v Superman. I mean, that one we heard about 8 months in advance.
Years. Yeah, but hold on. There's no way they expected it to do as good.
Of course not.
And it was tracking around 80 million.
And I know you guys have a lot of executives that watch this podcast,
Yes.
like a lot of studio executives, but they tend to be wrong a lot.
Yeah.
And when they allocate budgets, them to be wrong, because they allocated the budget for that well in advance.
Oh, yeah. And it was tracking at about 80 million.
Well, so then it must have screened really well, and they were just late, to buy ad time real late. If it, let's see how it is throughout the week. See if you see any more advertising.
It's a good movie. I mean, it definitely had everything in it for everybody. And it's like, but definitely not a kids movie. Ironically.
Surprisingly, not.
Yeah.
I would say like
Erotically?
not really.
I said ironically.
Oh, I thought you said erotic.
Well,
Apparently,
full penetration.
No,
in this movie.
there's this one scene
that's
where
hardcore,
it's
bro.
bukkake, but it's the opposite of bukkake.
No, that's the Justice League.
Wonder Woman.
She jizzes on everybody.
Wonder Woman actually just jackets on all the men. That's why they flipped the script.
Yeah.
No, I'm totally
Feminism.
kidding. Yeah. Real quick, without getting too in depth, I had a really good time at Wonder Woman. I thought it was really good. I will say, you said it's the best. I still like Man of Steel better, but that's me personally.
I don't agree with that.
No, yeah, that's fine. But that's me personally. But I did have a great time watching Wonder Woman. That was the thing, and I loved it. And by far, dude, Gal Gadot is so hot. Like,
Where's she from?
She's like half
Israeli.
Israeli.
I will say that's the only thing that really distracted me the most. Was like,
She's beautiful.
she was saying stuff, and I'm just like,
Was she in anything
Glass in your
before?
eyes.
She's been in a couple things.
Furious. She was in the Fast and Furious movies prior to the 7th. She was in 6 through
And they all
or
blend
4 through 6.
together.
or 5
Other
through 6.
than the most recent, they all
Yeah,
it's all
she
one
was in
film.
that. She was in a
It's all
few
the same
minor
shit.
things. She was in something with like was Zach Galifianakis and who was the chick in that one movie with
Speaking of Transformers, speaking of Fast and Furious, they should add Transformers next time.
Yeah, that would be
I think that's the
sick
only place
crossover.
to go. I think that's the only place to go.
Yeah, but no,
That'd be pretty fucking cool if they did that, actually.
That'd be a $500 million movie, right?
That'd be like the Avengers of shitty, like, hard dick fucking action movies.
Hell yes. I would watch. Okay, so I haven't seen the last Transformers movie in theaters, nor do I plan on watching this one in theaters. But if it crossed over with Fast and Furious, I might have to.
Yeah, I think Vin Diesel could drive the hell out of Optimus Prime, right?
Yeah.
Optimus, your family. Roll around, dog. Yeah. But yeah, so Wonder Woman, I agree. Like who've seen it, definitely go check it out for sure. And then stay tuned for our actual spoilers review coming soon. If you haven't seen it and you want to see it,
Probably
check
out
it
next
Brian.
week.
Yeah. All right, number 2. The only movie that came out besides Wonder Woman was a completely different type of market. Captain Underpants.
Captain America Underpants.
Captain Underpants, the first epic movie. None of us saw it, I would imagine. No,
But I really want to go this week.
Okay.
I really do want to see this movie.
Okay.
I have nothing to say about that except it made $24 million. So good for that. That's a respectable kids movie opening. Then you have Pirates of the Caribbean number 3 at 22.
When did that open up?
Last week.
Oh,
And I don't
Damn.
care about
What a bad idea.
yeah.
Bad Pirates. Another Pirates movie. Oh,
Johnny.
that's a horrible. No, don't
Johnny
do that.
Depp's bad.
Again, for the studio executives who are listening, I apologize for that. But
Yeah.
They say this
Johnny,
is
for
like the
listening.
best one since the first one.
Well, I heard from people who are fans that they say it's totally watchable, and those are fans saying that. So
you can totally check it out.
Yeah,
I didn't hate Pirates of the Caribbean.
Do you guys know what popcorn time is?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll watch it on popcorn time.
All right, fair enough.
Same.
Hiccups now, so bear with me. You have Guardians of the Galaxy number 2 and number 4, and Baywatch running at top 5. Big surprise for me.
Did you guys watch Baywatch?
Did you watch that yet?
I heard it's terrible.
No, me too.
Unwatchable, I heard.
Yeah.
I heard the Amy Schumer one was you actually felt bad for Goldie Hawn. You're like, you came out of retirement for this? What the fuck? Did you not even read the script? You're like, yeah, just send it over, Amy. I'm sure. It's great.
Okay.
She might have.
All right, so total gross for Snatched is $43 million. Budget 42 minus the marketing.
Yeah.
So barely made money.
No, it won't. No, it'll barely break even.
Yeah,
they marketed the
break
shit
even.
out of that.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, it did.
Because they knew it was really bad, and that's also why they probably didn't have to market Wonder Woman. That's to make goods on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
True.
Because it'll, you know.
Yeah, but still, I mean, I'm just saying, just for this movie, I felt not that it needs to be my fucking sympathy, but there was definitely a lot more, marketing for like Guardians or for Batman v Superman or for all these other movies.
Just wait for Wonder Woman 2. They're gonna shove it so far.
Oh yeah, of course,
yeah.
Of course. But that is, it's right. To prove your point, that's definitely right. It's the first Wonder Woman movie of its kind. I don't know how the fuck it's gonna go.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there were people in the room talking about your sexual bias. I'm sure there are people in the room who had never said it out loud, but they're like, yeah, don't. They're like, it's corny, it's not gonna work out.
Sure.
There are people pushing no from the jump.
Oh,
Sure.
definitely.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I mean, whoever, I don't know who makes those decisions, but they have to take into account a lot of opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, they probably could have marketed more, but I think it was, the truth is in the numbers.
Yeah.
People,
Yeah.
people
It's a
went
great,
out.
and it's a great fucking movie.
But people weren't paying money to go to movies. And I was, in my mind, I'm like, but they're all bad movies. I just don't know how.
No, yeah.
You know?
I
They're
agree
all
with you.
bad movies.
I was like, why don't you give us something amazing to look at? And that's why you see those spikes. So, like, let's say the average is like, I don't know, $50 million is great for most movies nowadays. Then the spikes, you get to like $200 million, and it's like, yeah, you know why? It's a good movie.
Yeah.
It's a good fucking movie.
Usually, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, but-
definitely a correlation.
It's definitely created this pattern of like if it's not a fucking Marvel or DC movie, who gives a fuck now? You know what I mean? Which kind of sucks.
Yeah,
for a
and
lot
that's
of other movies.
But then there's a lot of word of mouth, and it's very interesting. I don't know how you hit that fucking that magical thing. Like let's say Get Out. Get Out was great.
It's a great movie.
Magical. But then there's other movies that were great.
What were the
no one saw it.
What were the
Get Out? Or
yeah, but Get Out that transcended lines. When you're talking about other movies that were great, they didn't kind of check all the boxes that Get Out did. All right, like you got to understand, like you can do awesome stuff, but you're appealing to such a small demographic. You gotta either get lucky or you gotta have somebody
You
big
need to make
push
the
it.
buzz.
Or,
You need to get that buzz.
Yeah, somehow you gotta pay the right PR company.
AKA, you need that money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you can get the right people behind you who know how to pull, because there are a lot of people who run a lot of fake social media accounts who can get buzz going.
Yeah.
Like
Like
they
that-
don't charge a crazy amount anymore.
That movie, the Brothers Grimsby that we saw, remember?
Oh,
And we went to
I actually enjoyed that.
We went to a private screening at Sacha Baron
We got
Cohen
paid to
film.
go see
We
that.
got paid $10.
Oh, actually, no, that's right. We got
to go watch it. And it was before Trump became president. And there's a Trump joke in there where he gets AIDS.
Yeah.
Which was hilarious.
Which was hilarious. But after the movie came out, after it started getting really close, that he was gonna, like he was actually running and all this shit, and it was just like a joke back then still. So when that movie was being marketed, they shot it down. It wasn't like anywhere on TV. It just came out, and we were like, holy shit, that movie's out. We saw it like.
That's so funny because I vaguely remember the.
And it was a really funny movie.
It was really good. I mean, I thought it was gonna be shipping.
Yeah, no,
I was like,
I was
they're paying to see this movie. Like,
I was
it's gonna be
surprised
bad.
at how funny it
That's
was.
another popcorn
It was good.
time.
Yeah,
It was
That's
good.
another popcorn time.
Yeah. You want to see Trump get AIDS? That's a movie to watch.
Yeah, we should actually post that on some. Hey, you guys want to see Trump? Well, if they didn't cut it out, but
yeah, they might cut it out.
I don't think they did.
They were really asking that question.
I think that's why they pulled the plug on it, or on the fucking marketing.
Yeah, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, whatever.
And think they made that 2-3 years, or 2.5 years early.
Right.
that was written.
Yeah.
That line might have been written 5 years ago.
Oh, yeah. Just as it was revving up.
Yeah, barely starting
who knows?
Running.
Who knows?
All right, getting back into this. So you asked me what movie is coming out that may have some competition for Wonder Woman. This week, opening up, you have Universal's The Mummy.
Oh, Tom.
They're brand new with Tom Cruise.
I love Tom Cruise.
Where that sound clip is taken from. Tom Cruise, Sophia Boutella, Annabelle Wallace, Russell Crowe.
I love Tom Cruise.
I love him too.
That's him screaming, falling out of a plane.
Yeah, I've never heard him scream, but I love it.
Yeah.
And I also love
we
that
had to catch
in
that.
every trailer.
Wow,
in every trailer, even in different scenes, they played that sound clip.
Oh, yeah, they have. That dude, you didn't see.
They moved it.
Like, it wasn't just even on that. It's not even that part where he falls out of the plane. It's like other moments.
Like, this is too great. We gotta reuse this as much as we can.
You can even tell on the screen, though, Tom Cruise isn't scared. No, you can hear by that. I've screamed before.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
All right, so
Right there, he's like, I'm screaming. I'm screaming because you paid me $35 million. I'm not afraid.
This is Tom Cruise. This is Tom Cruise falling out of the sky on a plane. And then this is Tom Cruise getting attacked by rats.
Some really big rats.
And then this is Tom Cruise that gets in a car crash. No lie. Go check every single Mummy trailer you can find.
Tom Cruise meets the Mummy.
That soundbite is in that movie, like in the clip or in the trailer, in different clips, just kind of different levels. But it's that. I swear to God.
Same sound over and over.
Everything I've seen.
Here's a little crazy information for you guys. Tonight is the Golden Trailer Awards at the Saban Theater. You don't? Every year they do an award show for the best trailers.
Oh, nice.
So it's a whole different art form.
That's a great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the trailers a whole, and they
shitty
initially
trailers.
started in
Great
1999, but they have big judges. Like their first year was Quentin Tarantino and and Harvey Weinstein. Like big, like it's a big deal.
That's cool.
And tonight's the award show.
Badass.
Yeah, but everybody's gonna be at the Silver Dollar Salute at 9 p.m.
Yeah, actually, it's gonna be low attendance at that.
You're not there.
That's,
You're fucking
that award show. Because
It's obviously not a big one, but it's something that you guys I felt like would appreciate.
Yeah.
I would, except I
We're
would
checking
check
that's
that.
gonna be at Silver Dollar. However everyone signs to be at the Silver Dollar.
Quentin Tarantino will be there.
They're all gonna be there. Silver
And
Dollar.
definitely Tom Cruise is gonna have such a good time. He's gonna make a noise.
So the Mummy, what are your give me a prediction on the Mummy,
So
gentlemen.
okay, this
Give me a
is.
prediction.
I'm gonna start this off. This is interesting. I really love all of the promotional stuff that they've done. I'm still, for whatever reason, not super hyped.
Yeah, I don't care about it.
Yeah, I don't really care.
Wow, you got 3 thumbs down?
No, it's not. It's gonna
make money, but I'm not going. But I'm not going.
But this is the reason why I think it's not.
I feel like you guys are all liars. I feel like you're all fucking lying right now because it's like, okay, no. Say you got a couple positive reviews.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
I mean, I'll go see it in theaters. I won't see it opening weekend.
Because if it
sucks, then I don't want to
be the first.
Be the first
You want to
choice.
see.
Yeah, exactly. But here's the thing. I haven't heard anything.
I would agree with that sentiment. And you usually get some kind of buzz before something sucks.
Exactly.
You're like people are like.
I haven't heard anything about this.
Zero. That's very.
Yeah.
So it could go either way.
And I don't know what I don't watch any of the trailers because the trailers usually are so live.
This is actually.
You don't hear this?
A lot of people are watching it tonight, and so this is another thing. Like usually, an amazing movie or something that's really great, such as like Wonder Woman, they had people go and test it out, go watch it, like 2 to 3 weeks ahead of time. Not always, but 2 to 3 weeks ahead of time. They'll have critics go check it out, check out the screenings, whatever.
What do you get?
This is the first, not the first week, but this is about the first week. A few days ago, they had some people watch The Mummy, and I haven't heard anything about it. Not bad, not good, nothing.
Yeah, that's right. I didn't hear any of the variety, nothing.
I know for a fact people have seen it, and I know for a fact people are watching it tonight, but I have not heard anything currently while we're recording this.
Yeah, you know. So it go either way.
Yeah. And so this is the thing. They've had a great marketing thing. It was cool. It looks nice. I would love to go check it out in like
But
a
don't
week
you
or
think
two.
they could have had a better title? I feel like it's the title because they just had the Brendan Fraser.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
I feel like that just kills it. Like I see it, I'm like, man, because of the title.
Yeah.
Just say
Brendan
Tom
Fraser.
Fraser, the bitch that rides on the dead. Be like,
I love that. Like, imagine if the titles were just so like, just so fucking in your face
this
like that.
bitch will fuck you up.
Tom Cruise.
I want to see that. I'll go opening weekend.
That's Tom Cruise fighting a crazy bitch. No fucking mummy times.
Title: Tom Cruise versus
Mummy
Ancient
Times.
Egypt.
Yeah, from when mummies were real.
I couldn't think of ancient Egypt. I said mummy times.
Mummy times.
That's how you
God, that's the best joke of the night. That joke has a 10-day expiration date, all right?
He's gonna use this later on. He's like, you guys, I was on a podcast earlier, and I swear to God, I was thinking, let's have a in-your-face title for the Mummy: Tom Cruise versus Mummy Time.
But I'm telling you,
That's not a bad idea. I should write that down and try that later.
But every time I drive by, that's why. Like, it's like, why you gotta do that? That's why, for me, you guys all give your. For me, it was all the title. It's too much.
And I agree with you. They bank on
like
they bank on these movie names.
And yes, you can have that, Ryan. Yes, you can.
Thank you.
100%.
Yeah.
But I totally, I think executives, once again, I apologize because I've seen you guys all over Deadline.
Yeah.
But they just make such weird decisions. It's like you gotta. I don't care what the movie's about.
Yeah.
I don't care unless it's an extension from that old series. That title is not even on the table.
Yeah. I get you.
You know?
They reboot so many things banking
Is
on
it
the
a
name.
reboot? Is it a reboot?
It is. It's a reboot. It has nothing to do with the Brendan Fraser.
Right, but it also has nothing to do with the original The Mummy.
Yeah, so then why call it The Mummy again?
Because Universal's whole plan is to relaunch the entire monster.
That's such a bad idea. Tom Cruise is the star. You don't need
who? What does he sound like? I don't forget what Tom Cruise sounds like.
I got it. Okay, Tom Cruise did what? 2 Jack Reachers? 3 Jack Reachers?
2.
2?
And then,
okay,
the
Jack
second
Reacher,
one he never goes back. He
can't reach it.
I read the book. Jack Reacher's like a 6'5" imposing like Jack Reacher's the guy that walks in the room. Everyone's like, "Oh my god!" I bet his dick goes to his knee, right? Like you see that he's not Jack Reacher, but still.
Hold on. We really just brushed over this amazing moment. That was one of the funniest things I've heard all day.
That's the best thing Ricky's ever said.
He never goes to 3 because he can't reach it. There's only 2 Jack Reachers.
I get it. I get it. I just, we all know what Tom Cruise, you don't need that mummy shit, man. It really upsets me. Like, I would smash my car into one of those billboards just on principle.
Let me say this.
Sound like this.
Earlier, I think this is before we started recording, we were talking about how Tom Hardy signed on to the Venom movie, and that has a lot to say about the
It's a
script.
bad idea already.
No, that has a lot to say about the script, about what the Venom movie is. This is what I say about
DC?
Venom.
Marvel.
No, it's Marvel. All right,
He's a Spider-Man character.
It is
Fox,
Sony who
Sony.
has the rights to Spider-Man characters, but based off of a Marvel character. So if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know it's something
has a movie
convoluted. I know
right
it's something. Yeah.
So you have Marvel MCU, you have DCFCU, but they license the characters. So like Spider-Man and all of the characters on Spider-Man are Sony right now.
I wonder what the licensing fee is. If it's
they
flat fee or if it's.
This is the thing. This is way before Marvel even became a movie studio, so it's not a lot. And that's the thing.
It's pre-negotiated for a long time or something?
Because this is how it goes, and this is why. So this is the deal. Marvel was going to go bankrupt before they had their movie studio. And then they license out a lot of their movie titles, so that's where they have Spider-Man.
So
that's in Sony. Fantastic Four, that's at Fox. Like stuff like that. Because X-Men is also at Fox. And it's like, you take our titles and you make movies. And then they're like, okay, cool, we have enough money now. let's start our own thing. But that now they can't use those because they're still licensed out, and the agreement says unless they.
So that's why Marvel Studios does those
Doesn't
raw
it? Yeah.
esoteric characters that you don't.
Exactly.
And they change
they don't
all
have
the
the
story.
rights. They don't have the rights to their main
Well, but they're
characters.
still killing it with something.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Luke
yeah.
Cage is dope.
Guardians of the Galaxy was
All of it.
Out of left
Well,
field,
well,
but great.
nobody expected Guardians of the Galaxy, and the way they tie that in, they're gonna kill it when they tie it in.
Yeah. And
So,
so
because they're gonna figure out a way real quick to tie
exactly.
that in.
And as long as these companies continue making movies with these characters, they don't have to give the rights back. The only way that they go back is if they don't make the movies within a certain amount of time.
It's on an initial deal.
And that's why we get
Oh, and
that's
so
why we
then
get
that's why, like,
always
if
a
we-
reboot of Spider-Man. There's always a new X-Men.
Because
That's
if
why.
they stop making movies, the rights go back to Marvel.
Yeah, and they don't want to do that.
Nope.
Exactly. I don't. The time frame is dependent on the deal, which is not public. But that's exactly what you're.
Yeah,
Why you?
So
why,
they're trying to max it out and leave
So this
Marvel
new
with
so this
nothing.
new Spider-Man is them coming to some sort of agreement.
Yeah, this is the only Spider-Man that has actually existed in the
Marvel
MCU
universe.
because they made a new deal where still owned by Sony, but Marvel will also play in the same
I've
the
learned
same
a lot
playground.
in the last couple
same
hours.
playground.
More than I expected, I can tell you that.
We're
what
I'm a
Humpcast
gentleman,
is.
and I'm a gentleman who likes
Yeah.
to learn. Like
If
I've
any-
learned
is all
way
about.
more than
If anything, we're
expected.
educational as fuck.
Yeah,
So
Boom.
there you go.
Science.
Going back to the Mummy though, it looks cool. I was
We gotta
saying-
wrap soon because
yeah.
we gotta get to the show.
All right, so
Yeah.
Tom Cruise gives some sort of, it's gravitas to this, and I think
Let's say he does this.
the
Some
Mummy
would
looks
say.
good. If Wonder Woman didn't come out this past weekend, I would totally go see the Mummy this weekend, but I have no plans to. I'll see it soon. I'm gonna speed through these stories real quick. The main one I really want to talk about were two. I'll bring the sadder one first, but Ryan left, so this is the one that I'm pretty sure he's gonna reiterate. The voice actor Peter Sallis is now dead at 96. Voice actor, if you are familiar with his work, Wallace and Gromit, which is one of the things that I've seen as a kid. It was one of my childhood. I guess you could call it cartoons. It's claymation.
Yeah.
I loved it, and so I just want to pay my respects to him. I am sure Ryan would too, but he's taking a piss.
So fuck him.
So fuck him. So rest in peace, Peter Sallis.
Yeah.
We love your work, and you really made
You
me.
got Tom Cruise
You made
salute.
me believe that the moon was made out of cheese for a while, and I loved it.
Yeah, Tom Cruise.
That's why you
salute.
left. And you fucked up. You want to say anything real quick?
No, it's an iconic voice, voice of a generation.
Yeah. The first thing I was like Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah.
Was it not for what it was? Not a Grand Day Out, was it?
My favorite one was
Chicken Run.
Trousers. What was it?
Oh, the wrong trousers.
Wrong trousers. Yeah.
The wrong trousers. And then but no, the first one I ever saw was when they went to the moon and it was made out of
It
cheese.
was made out of cheese. Yeah.
I was like, that looks delicious.
yeah.
I want to eat the moon.
Yeah.
And of course they did more recent stuff too. But yeah, so rest in peace, Peter Sallis.
Yeah. Humpcast
So
salute.
it's-
Okay, salute. We should have a button for that. Not that button. Not that button.
Merry Christmas. That should be our Humpcast salute.
Merry Christmas, you filthy animal.
No, this one.
Merry Christmas
Oh.
and a Happy Good New Year. I love you.
That's our Humpcast salute.
There you go.
Peter Sallis.
There you go.
I don't know why the ending's so long.
I know. Who's
I thought I cut
laughing
that.
at that?
That's
This
you.
is probably me.
Yeah, not you.
It's probably
It
me.
sounds like you.
It sounds like a girl.
All right, this is my main story. The real thing I wanted, though, I mean, we kind of touched on it. Wonder Woman shatters box office records and confirms a sequel, and it will be set in America. That's all we got.
Yeah, makes
It'll be
sense.
set in America. Cool.
What do you think the next thing would be? Do you think they would do like another flashback story?
Here's the thing. So I was gonna save this
after
a
Justice
little bit
League.
more
Because this
for the
takes
work-
place. I mean,
Review.
there's not spoilers. It's just this.
Yeah, you see
This
in the
Wonder Woman.
trailers. Anything in the
takes
trailers
place-
is not
it
spoiled.
takes place in World War One.
Yeah.
Yes.
The one?
Yes.
All right. But this is not a spoiler. Anything in the trailers, I believe, is not a spoiler. So yeah, it takes place in World War One. I believe that this is going to be contemporary because it's hard to kind of keep going in as a flashback movie. If you do the next thing and have it be a flashback movie, it's even though it can be a completely different story, it'll still be the same.
You know what I would like to see?
What would you like to see?
Is Justice League Doom, which is where where the character Doom, right? Isn't that his name? Is it the character
Doomsday?
Doomsday? No,
Wait, which one are you talking about? Justice League Doom.
That's the one
is where Batman has a failsafe for every Justice League member.
Is that what I'm thinking of? No.
Doomsday?
Probably Doomsday.
No, I'm thinking of something else. Anyway.
Death of Superman?
No, it's where
they did that. It's called Batman v Superman.
No, it's a storyline where Wonder Woman's world gets attacked. All the Amazon, yeah, they get attacked, and Batman and Superman have to go and help her people.
No, that's not. I don't think it's called Justice League Doom.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is.
It's a cartoon.
It sounds like he's just making storylines.
Making shit up. He's gonna write the new one.
He's like, also, Patty Jenkins gonna hire me to write the next Wonder Woman movie. No, I think it should be. She already said it's gonna be in the United States. I would like it to be contemporary. One thing that I was gonna say for the review, I'll say.
I did just.
I find it to be a mix between like Captain America, the First Avenger, and like Man of Steel, as far as an origin story goes. But the thing with Captain America, he was frozen from when he fucking hit was it First Avenger till modern times. The only thing that I have to say is Wonder Woman wasn't, so I kind of wanted to see like what she's done, but I don't want a whole movie on it. So I'm hoping there's a contemporary movie with flashbacks, if that makes sense.
Sure.
And so I'd want to see that. I don't know which storyline you're talking about, but
I can't remember what the name of it. But they made an animated movie out of it, and I can't remember what the name of it is. So that's why I'm looking for it. And I remember watching it.
The only one I remember, I've seen pretty much all of them. Is they're on Themyscira and a bunch of Doomsdays come out of a movie tube. That is that's with Supergirl.
Oh, it's Supergirl. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry.
That's where Supergirl goes and then she trains with Wonder Woman on Themyscira.
Do you think anyone watching the podcast has started driving to the show?
Probably.
I hope so.
Maybe.
Yeah, possible.
All right. A lot of people actually watch Wonder Woman.
Let's wrap it up, Garrett. All right, fuck.
Wrap it up. Last thing, Dan Aykroyd, you're dumb. Dan Aykroyd blames Paul Feig for Ghostbusters reboot troubles. In an interview recently, Dan Aykroyd said, and I kind of want to get the verbatim because it was dumb. Let's see. Quote. Okay, so. The girls are great in it. He said Kate McKinnon, Melissa McCarthy, Kristen Wiig. What a wonderful players they are.
He doesn't mention what's her name. Fucking.
He says Anne Legend.
Oh, he does. I was like, geez, he doesn't mention the black one.
He literally said Anne Leslie Jones. I was really happy with the movie, but it cost too much, and Sony does not like to lose money. It made a lot of money around the world, but just cost too much, making it economically not feasible to do another one. And then here it is. So that's too bad. The director, he didn't even call him by name. He said the director, he spent too much on it. He didn't shoot scenes we suggested to him, and several scenes that were going to be needed. And he said, nah, we're not going to do that. We're not going to need them. And then we tested them, and then they needed them. And he had to go back about $30 to $40 million in reshoots. So he will not be back on the Sony lot anytime soon. That's an exact quote from Dan Aykroyd's interview. Not even calling him...
Strong words.
Yeah, not even calling him by name. He just said he fucking shot the wrong scenes, too many reshoots, and cost the studio too much money. And also then he added, just as a stinger, he will not be back on the Sony lot anytime soon. Which, since then, he's been followed up. Sony has actually said, no, that's not true.
Oh. You start realizing that like a lot of these iconic movie stars or comedic actors and stuff, they're fucking old and they're probably getting just old and grumpy and just
dumb
and and
what did
crazy.
Sony say?
Well, no, they just kind of corrected him more on the price, at least. It wasn't $30 to $40 million in reshoots. It was maybe more like $3 to $4 million.
Yeah, which still makes sense, but it ran into the same problem Entourage did. It was too bloated for what they delivered.
Yeah. And then they had they said Paul Feig made a good movie and had a superb cast and plenty of money to do it. We just wish he had been more inclusive. Oh, this is Dan Aykroyd following up. And we wish he had been more inclusive to the originators, so they included him more. It cost everyone as it is.
Yeah, like
unlike the first Leslie and Kate will reprise their roles as Ghostbusters, which is sad. So literally, Dan Aykroyd followed up with not even an apology, just said, "Nah, not that much," but he still fucked up.
Sure. They shouldn't have made it.
No. I agree. Nobody was asking for all what they delivered.
What they delivered? No, I agree with you on that. But it's just this is not how you handle anything.
Especially why is it so hard for people to, or for like Hollywood to understand that like the only satisfying way to like do these movies is just to like give it off to another generation or something like that. You know what I mean? Like that's how I would feel like if a Men in Black movie wanted to continue. Like they're getting fucking old, they gotta train other Men in Black. Something like that. You know what I mean? That's what would be more acceptable, I feel, or a better way to present these movies. Rather than constantly rebooting them, just say it's still in the same universe in the same timeline. It's just a new series of people.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree too.
That seems like the easiest way. Like they're just like, no, we're gonna like
redo the whole thing. Fuck everything you want. Yeah.
Fuck your dreams, fuck your childhood. We're gonna redo that shit.
Well, this is what I was saying earlier, was that they're banking on the names making more money, but they're not understanding that people have such a strong attachment to the original that they don't want to see a different version of that.
Right.
But if they do make a good one, which is not apparently the normal, the fucking norm, then it actually builds steam later on. Sure. Like 21 Jump Street. No one wanted to fucking see that at first. Then they saw it.
It ended up being really funny.
Yeah, then they saw it and they're like, that's fucking funny. And people went to go see it continuously. Then they got 22 and that was still continuously funny. That's what I'm saying. Like, make a good movie first and foremost. If you're going to use the name, make a good movie. And then build the buzz. And then you can do more movies down the line.
Look at Tom Cruise and Mummy times.
Mummy. What does Tom Cruise sound like? I don't remember what he sounds like.
You're making Ricky fumble here.
All right, that's it for my stories, right, D?
Yeah.
That's it?
No music?
We have music. Oh, well, we're going to rant these stories? Yes. It's, I don't feel like at the time. I don't feel like at the time.
Yeah, see the time. Just hit the fucking button.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
The secrets of nature's deepest mystery.
She's literally like launching eggs out of her pussy. The poo-poo, eat the poo-poo guy. So they just like tie up these dudes and pour it in their face. And he cut off his dick. This gonna blow your fucking mind. You ready?
Alright, we'll start this off by talking about Kathy Griffin.
Who?
Kathy Griffin, comedian. She was, I mean, she's been on all kinds of shit. I was never really a fan.
I know. I just old and irrelevant.
I wanted to get Brian's take on this whole thing. We all know what happened, right? She did a photo shoot with this photographer and held up what appears to be a severed head of President Donald Trump with blood all over it.
Mm-hmm.
And she got all this flack. Has now been fired from CNN for her, what is it? Fucking New Year's Eve thing that she does. So she won't be back for that. That she's been doing for the last, I think, like 10 years or something like that on CNN. And kind of lost a lot of supporters and endorsers and stuff like that over this photo shoot. So, Brian, what are your thoughts on this?
Look, man, it's like comedy's one thing, and look, that's the leader of a nation. All right, I don't care what nation it is, what you're protesting.
Yeah,
that is the leader of a nation. All right, it's such a finite number and of a free country. It's not like you're protesting oppression.
Right.
Yeah, it's not like Hitler's head.
Yeah. The current leader of the newly elected leader of a superpower, if you're going to do something like that, should be fully prepared for the repercussions. Mm-hmm. If you have major responsibilities, like a guy like me can do something like that and no one's going to give a fuck. Right? But a cat...
We'll get one angry emoji on your phone.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, I'm wearing this shirt.
Yeah, but it's like, a guy like you,
Ryan.
it don't matter. But she's not you. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Her bills are being
paid.
Her bills are being paid by other people cutting checks.
Sure. And,
So if you decide to ridicule the leader of a free country, any country, I don't care what, just be prepared. There's going to be There's going to be consequences.
Okay, so what you're saying is she shouldn't be complaining for everything.
She's getting what she deserves. She made a joke, and you be prepared for what comes back. Not everything's going to land.
Yeah,
you decided. You're like, oh, this is going to be great in the moment. Whoever's like, oh, that's going to be such a pro. Yeah, fine. You listened to the wrong fucking people, and you made a choice. I don't feel bad for you at all. Live up to it.
Here's my thing is I think if you haven't built a career on doing such things like being this edgy, which is pretty much what you said, then like you shouldn't be fucking surprised when stuff like this happens, because she brings up even her lawyer, and this is because I'm a big heavy metal fan, so this is kind of why I brought up this story, is because have you heard of GWAR? You've heard of GWAR.
Sure.
They've been cutting the heads off of presidents on stage for
the Pope.
And the Pope and Jesus Christ himself for the last fucking 30 years.
Sure.
And they brought that into their press conference. Municipal Waste has been selling this T-shirt for the last 5 years now, I think, maybe.
Is that Donald Trump blowing his brains out?
Donald Trump shooting himself in the head. Yeah. There's blood everywhere, and plenty of other companies have ripped off this graphic. But it's funny that they're trying to compare what she did to what they're doing. It's like, but these guys, they make a living. They make a living on being this edgy, losing a living on
CNN isn't cutting checks for them.
Right, exactly.
So it's like you got to know who's paying your fucking bills, who your bosses are. If you go into your work, I don't care what you do, you work good. Any Burger King, you decided to bring in a severed fucking head. You know what I mean? You're probably going to do your job. You work at Funny or Die, it's way different. You know,
Yeah.
So it's just like you got to know who's paying your bills and who you're employed by.
I agree. And some people are even bringing up stuff like she shouldn't have done that in the first place. No.
I don't.
If you're going to agree with it.
I think it's. Look, I don't think the photo is like all that. I mean, I think people really overreacting over the photo.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, sure it's offensive, and she should have thought about it more. But yeah, you're right. I don't think she should have. She should be so surprised on the fucking.
That's also free speech, bitch.
What?
It's also
free speech.
Yeah,
That's
it's free speech, but who's she getting paid by?
Yeah, that's right.
Say whatever
that's
you
what
want.
we're talking about with the being surprised.
Yes.
You can say what you want to say. Don't do stuff.
Don't be surprised.
But don't be surprised when the
people
repercussions
are like,
come.
we can't back you on that. You gotta go.
Yeah,
sorry.
Like
That's why Humpcast wants to stay uncensored.
Yeah,
I don't have any corporate sponsors.
So let's rewind it real quick.
See where the fuck
let's
we
say,
are.
and I know there are plenty of people that did stuff with let's say that the photo was replaced with like Obama's head 4 years ago.
Well, that's the thing. That was another argument. Hold on, just not to cut you off, but this is a quick. Thing that really did happen. People are making the same comparison that Ted Nugent said the same shit about assassinating Obama in like a tweet, and he's in the White House now, hanging out with our president. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there is a sort of unfairness to this whole thing, but yeah, I mean, so you're right. There is
again. That's a tweet from Ted Nugent, who ain't being employed by CNN,
sure,
who's not, who is a public figure.
Sure, but I guess
the very most minimal.
I guess the point I'm trying to make is like if you're gonna go off on somebody like this, why not go off on somebody like that?
Well, yeah, and he probably was going off on, but he wasn't employed by CNN.
So who your audience and who pays your bills. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
GWAR, Ted Nugent, not employed by not employed by CNN
different.
or following the same people like me. I don't follow Kathy Griffin. If she didn't do this, I wouldn't know that she was still alive, to be honest. That's not some sort of diss. I'm just saying, like, I don't follow any of their things. I haven't heard of her in years.
Looks like she better get out and capitalize on this and
Yeah.
tour and make some
And
money
so-
touring.
Yeah, it's true. You got a window.
It's gonna
Go
reach
tour.
people like Garrett.
Yeah,
Go get it.
Get your name out there.
If you're gonna do something, go fucking after it. Go get it.
Straight up.
Yeah. Shit. What? There was one more thing I wanted to.
War Machine.
Oh, okay. No, I know, but there was one more point I wanted
Oh.
to talk about this, but whatever. It's all right. Fuck it. Move on. You guys remember back in 2014? First of all, Brian,
No.
do you know who Christy Mack is?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, I
so
do.
back in
we all know.
Back in yeah, we all know who Christy Mack is, famous porn
I don't
star.
remember her.
She
We'll show you.
That's a long time
she was
ago.
nearly beat to death by her then boyfriend in 2014, War Machine, who was an MMA
Don
fighter.
Cheadle.
Yeah, Don Cheadle.
Oh shit.
What the?
No,
that's-
not Don Cheadle.
I don't remember. I don't remember his real name. But
Don
this article just keeps. Oh, Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah.
No, that's the
What?
guy that fucking.
That's a
the other
fucking
guy.
baseball
That's
player.
that related article.
That's the related article. Yeah, I can't. I don't know what this guy's real name is. War Machine, the guy from fucking MMA. Anyway, he nearly beat her to death, and he just got a life sentence for what he did to her. So he just got sentenced yesterday, and it's one full life sentence, which I think is
25 to life.
It's 15 to 30.
15. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
15 to 30.
Yeah.
Well, what I initially thought is he probably had priors, but then I forgot that he was on the run for a while.
For a while.
Yeah.
But I felt like that couldn't have been his first offense.
Of course not.
I felt like there had to be some other things. Like
Was there more?
I think the minimal life sentence is 15.
Okay.
Well, I don't know what the exact charge was. Attempted murder? I don't know.
He was sexual assault.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what the charges
It's
are.
right here:
but-
battery by strangulation, kidnapping, and several other charges.
Oh, okay, well, see, that's a lot of charges.
What's
Yeah.
coercing?
Coercing?
Coercing.
COER.
Yeah, coercion.
CION.
Coercion.
Coercing.
What is that?
That is when you it's kind of like bribing. Coercing is
Oh, maybe he tried to pay her off, like to not
yeah.
talk, and she's like something, you know. There's probably
Like
all.
changing-
looking it up. I'm
changing-
looking it up.
36 years.
The practice of persuading someone to do something by using force or threats.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So you're
So, like,
forcing
threatening
somebody to do
somebody.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, he.
I typed in War Machine and it brought up that guy, and then I typed in War Machine name and it brought up Don Cheadle.
We don't know his real name.
Doesn't have a
His,
name.
name
no?
is, his real name is Jonathan Paul
Isn't the
Copenhaver.
show supposed to be in 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got to go.
Yeah, I just
Bye.
wanted.
It's not that far, but I'm hosting it, and it's
Ryan
over
doesn't
for a
give a
little
fuck.
late.
No, I just
Ryan
wanted to
don't
make
give
sure.
no fucks.
All right, that's it. Goodbye, guys. Follow
All
me on
right,
Twitter and
this
Instagram.
is
Follow-
awesome.
Thanks, Brian.
Nice. Real quick, you want to say anything? Real quick, your plugs or anything else?
BrianMorenoComedy.com. You guys are awesome. Come back anytime.
Boom.
Thank you.
Check it
guys
out.
very much.
Thanks for letting us come back on it. All right, thank you so much for listening. If you haven't
I'll
already,
come back anytime.
boom, high five. Thank you, man. You're awesome. Follow us however you're listening to us. Then definitely check out all of our social media. You can check it out in the description. And I want to give a quick shout out to Eco Urban Gardens. She was the owner or whatever. Liz was on our show recently. She also gave me a bunch of really cool stuff for my garden, my herb garden. What?
And fuck the show, fuck the audio.
Yeah. I want to shout out Eco Urban Gardens. If you are in the SoCal area and you want to
Wrap it up, dog. Wrap it up. Wrap it up as fast as
I'm
possible.
sorry. What is going on behind me?
Don't even mention
I don't even know.
Don't even look at it.
Definitely check them out. Go to ecourbangardens.org and they are really good. They can help you, especially with sustainable stuff for SoCal. Check them out. Thank you so much. Also, follow me personally at Garrett_AM_Lee at Twitter and Instagram and Mitch_Striker on Snapchat.
And you can follow me at twitter.com/RickyC. My Instagram is RickyC90. I'm going to play some CKY in the show. That's right. They got a new album coming out called The Phoenix. This is
The Dark
Sans
Phoenix?
Dan Miller. So I'm sorry, Darren Miller. So now we have just Chad as the vocals. It's a 3-pair group, and check it out. This is a song called Replaceable. Peace out. Cheers.
Later.
That was a lot of fun, guys. Yeah, usually we take a picture, but you're all good. Have fun at the show. I don't know.